fun times? Are you for Fun Time USA Explosion #1?
It depends on what the fun is.
It's not April Fool's right now, but we got a lot of April Fool's notes. It's an interesting week full of weird bullshit. It's the RageSelect podcast.
That's true.
So yeah, I think we got a lot of fun. I think we got a lot of fun to talk about today. So
Okay.
Welcome back everybody to the aforementioned RageSelect podcast here on RageSelect. I am Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
I wonder when I first started doing that. When I first started saying those words.
I don't know. I'm sure somebody can tell us on the maybe. I don't know.
I do remember that, it's like I've got a thing now that I say at the beginning of all the dojos or when I don't have anything else to say, and it's just like, when I started doing that? I think it's been like 8 years now, and I just
you never really know what takes off and what doesn't, and just what becomes part of your vocabulary, and you just don't really know where it starts. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're recording this a little ahead of time, but if people are listening to this on Monday, it'll be like Eclipse Day. So I'm curious. Do you think we're gonna have is it the end times? Is there robots coming from beyond the stars? Is it gonna be
I don't think it's robots because you're usually powered by the sun. So if they show up, they'll just power down like Nuclear Man and Superman 4.
Okay.
But
how do you always bring the conversation back to Superman 4? God damn it!
You gave me that softball, Jeff. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't even know what I was doing. I
still think I can't get out of my head that stupid conspiracy theory I told you.
Oh yeah,
last week that somebody had brought up.
Yep.
Where they're like, oh, they're using the eclipse to power their hadron collider or whatever
to open up a
dimensional portal.
For what reason?
And that's why they called the National Guard in case the things happen. I'm like, that's the plot of Doom.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe the scientists have discovered the eternal life and eternal blowjob dimension, and that's what they're opening to. So you'd feel real stupid if you tried to block the Large Hadron Collider from opening a portal to the eternal life, eternal blowjob dimension.
Well, what if they only saw that with the orgy part of Event Horizon, and they were like, "Oh, that sounds good."
I don't think there was a sexy part of it. I don't think any part of Event Horizon
there wasn't. But there's always that one weird scientist who's like, you know what, I'm into it. Let's try to get to that portal, and he just lies to his coworkers that it's great. It's an infinite blowjob dimension.
The people that know what the Hellraiser Cube does, but they go looking for it anyway.
They go for it. Yeah,
yeah.
Like Bill Murray and fucking Little Shop of Horrors would love that thing.
Well, what would happen? What would happen if you summoned the Cenobites to the Event Horizon sex hell dimension
during that whole process?
Yeah.
I don't know. Would they
is it like the
cancel each other out?
Is it Ring versus Grudge? Is it like Let Them Fight? Is it Godzilla versus Kong?
I'd watch that.
Cenobites versus whatever they called the things in
just demons, I guess. I don't really know what they were.
What if it was like Freddy? What if instead of Freddy versus Jason, what was it like Freddy versus Pinhead? Well,
we gotta put in Drop Dead Freddy in there at some point. I don't know why we don't want it.
I think we would just have the full monster mash. Just get them all in there.
Just get them all in there.
Get all the Groovy Ghoulies, Wolfman and his Nards. Just get them all, man.
If anything, I would like to
Leprechaun,
see what some of these people react to the actual plot of Doom 2016.
Yeah,
I want to see what happens if you bring the Hellraisers in the middle of the Doom apocalypse, and they'll be like, "We're just gonna go."
What even is the point? This is too complicated. Well, you know what? Speaking of Groovy Ghoulies, I today got some time before you came over, and I fired up Peacock and I watched Lisa Frankenstein. So
okay,
which was interesting. It was like, did you ever watch Mithrigan? Did you watch Mithrigan?
No.
Or
I know someone who looks like Mithrigan, Megan or whatever they call it.
It's just like a mid tier. You know what it reminds me of is The Babysitter. Remember that on Netflix?
Yeah.
Right? Where it's turns out the hot babysitter is worshiping Satan at the Large Hadron Collider. I'm bringing it all back.
Yeah.
It's all one thing.
Whole thing totally.
So yeah, I mean, Lisa Frankenstein, it's funny because it doesn't have much to do with Frankenstein, to be honest.
Really?
It's like this it's in the 80s. It's this weird girl, and just played by this actress. I don't remember her name. All I remember is that she was the blonde cheerleader in Freaky that Vince Vaughn's serial killer character switches brains with.
Oh,
so then the cheerleader becomes a mass murderer, and she's kind of walking around like a Terminator.
She was just like a mascot.
Oh, or the mascot. Okay, I don't.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, she's the lady. I think she was in the newest Ant-Man.
Yes,
as the new daughter.
Yes, she's his daughter.
I forgot the actress's name too.
Quantumania. Yeah.
Very popular.
So basically, it's just like the 80s, and it's really weird because there's this thing where it's like her mom her mom was killed by an axe murderer, and then her dad remarried this woman, and she doesn't like her home life, and she's kind of a goth, even though it's not. It was like, that was a different thing in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And she likes hanging out in the cemetery, and then one night she's like praying for, like, she's a bad experience, and lightning strikes this grave, and this dude like just comes back to life, like just a guy, like at the beginning it's like a little animated sequence of a guy, he got killed by a lightning strike, then gets brought back to life by a lightning strike as like a zombie. And then it's like this weird, like it's he's like missing limbs, and they start putting human parts on him, and like, so, oh no, I guess there is a Frankenstein, because they'll sew like a body part on him, and then putting him in this malfunctioning tanning bed, and it like sparks and electrocutes him, and then it like integrates that body part into his body. It's a very weird
strange
movie.
yeah.
It's a very strange movie. It's got like it's got like an 85% like audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, like a 35% critic score, and I think it's like a solid like B+ if you've got Peacock and you're looking for 100 minutes worth of like, kind of school. There is some things I'll say. One, they made the 80s garbage like they are.
Okay.
Kind of like Totally Killer, except you didn't have a character who was there to basically put 2024 values onto the 80s. It was just like the 80s, and they sucked real bad. But one thing I did notice was that they did a much better job with set dressing in the 80s than a lot of stuff does. Like, everything really looked like the 80s.
Yeah.
But the one thing that they don't do right is color. And a lot of it comes from the fact that, like, they love the idea of the pink neon from the 80s, but they don't use the right shitty pink neon. They use a purple neon like we would have today in the back of like a video essay person on YouTube. But like, and so it always just looks better. And I'm like, no, I was there when they invented neon, and it looks like shit. Like neon pink and neon green, when they first rolled it out, it was like brain-burningly bright. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't good.
No, yeah. You can still see some of them every now and then at old like places that haven't updated their shit since the 80s.
Yeah. It looks cheap as shit now.
Yeah, and it's always bright as fuck. Like, you can see it from like a mile away.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, the thing is that Carla Gugino is in it as kind of like the evil stepmom, and like that lady was pretty good, and it's got some interesting kind of stuff about like there's like the Carla Gugino has a stepdaughter, and the stepdaughter like isn't a bitch. She like really cares for Lisa Frankenstein, and like is trying to like make her feel welcome and stuff. But yeah, it was fine. It was 100 minutes, kind of breezed by, and like, I don't know, don't go out of your way, but like, if you're looking for just a snack that's not like, nobody's going to be like, oh, it's my horror movie of the year. Like last week when I was talking about, that the thing with the two people in the trailer home, You'll Never Find Me, and it was like, oh yeah, people are gonna be like, oh my god, what is it saying about society, and it's so moody, and it's dark, and and this is just like fucking like, high school sucks, and there's a Frankenstein man. I'm gonna dress up like a goth, we're gonna play 80s music, and somebody's gonna make out with somebody. Might be a corpse, may not, who knows. So but yeah, it was fine. Other than that, I've just been playing Dragon's Dogma like a crazy person. I have my spreadsheet of side quests that is now almost all green except for the Sphinx side quest, which is actually 10 side quests.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta get through this game, Michael. I gotta get through this game. I'm almost done with it. Like,
I know the feeling.
So how about you? What have you been up to? You watch anything? You play anything?
I'm catching up on Invincible. Well, I've basically finished the season of Invincible now. But
it was a fast season, it seemed like.
Well, it's because there was the first chunk, which I think was like 4 or 5 episodes, that happened in like the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And then there was this large gap, and then they just and then the rest of them came out, but like people weren't really paying attention anymore. Like I didn't feel like Twitter was talking about the way we were. Like, I didn't even talk about the way I was when that first chunk came out, where I'm like, oh, it's Friday, I'm gonna watch the new Invincible, and I would like post the thing, and be like, oh, I'm really excited, kind of thing. I was just like, I'll get to it, like, because the hype train wasn't there anymore in my brain. I was just like, I'm like, because nobody was even spoiling it. Like, I could barely remember what happened because nobody would say anything about it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the new one. And you're like, I'm surprised I didn't know about that because no one's fucking talking about it.
I mean, I will say that I haven't seen the final episode, but I will say that the back half of this first season has been a lot more character stuff. It's been less punchy explodey. Like, I don't know if that changes in the last episode, but like
it does only because it's the final. Or it's not the final thing, but it's one of the most insane parts of the comic, the beginning chunk of the comic.
Yeah,
and then
explosive season finale,
and then just sort of like after that point, like it's gonna get. This is the point where Invincible just sort of keeps getting batshit insane more and more as it goes on. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it plays out from here on. But I'm happy with what it did because this latest one is the most anybody's talked about it, period, because of a very specific thing that happens in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. And if you guys, I'm not going to spoil it, but like if just don't check Twitter because it's all people are fucking talking about. Like this is the most anyone has talked about the show like in months.
Okay,
but I'm very excited to see. I'm happy with how the show is progressing, and I love the fact that there's a great joke that they translated perfectly into the animation version, which I did tell you off mic, which is the comic panel joke.
Yeah, I did see that. That was good.
And then they changed it to an animation one, and it's such a perfect version of that joke.
Yeah,
and so I love the fact that they did that, and so I'm very happy with how how the season came out.
Have you been watching X-Men 97? I have.
Not as much as like it's not super carefully. I haven't seen the latest one, but I know something that's happened in it. It's very interesting.
I think I'm one behind as well. So the last one I saw was one with Madeline Pryor.
Okay, yeah. So that's where I stopped too.
Which I was like, this is darker than I think I would. Like, it's funny seeing this very kind of like Saturday morning cartoon animation style, but some of the shit happened in that show. I'm just like, that's dark, man.
It's a lot of the stuff that happened in the comic, and I'm happy that it rewrote the version of what happened with Scott and Madeline.
Yeah,
because in the comic, it's more like Scott being like, I want to go and quit the X-Men and marry this redhead woman that I met in like Alaska or some shit.
Right.
And then randomly Jean Grey's like, I'm back to life. And he's like, that's great. Madeline, I got to go.
Right.
I got to go get some cigarettes. I'll be right back. And then he just fucking leaves her and date
the only thing that I think was a little off-putting about that episode is at the very end, she's just like, call me Madeline Pryor, and I'm like, where did that fucking come from?
Yeah,
what name is that?
The cartoon doesn't make any sense because you're like, that doesn't. Why would you? Where did you get that from?
And she's just, anyway.
The comic makes sense because she thinks she's a woman named Madeline Pryor,
right,
not a clone of Jean Grey.
She thinks she's a different person.
Yeah, she thinks she's a completely different person.
Yeah,
and so that's what. But I'm happy with the way it played out in this. It's because it makes Scott look like less of an asshole, kind of thing. But it is like, it is a lot of stuff happening at once for a lot of comics continuity just sort of shoved into like a 20-30 minute episode,
absolutely,
kind of thing. But it's great so far. I really like it a lot.
Yeah.
And so I'm this latest episode, because there were some voice actors that weren't that decided not to be the characters that they were in the past, because one is because they Jubilee is of Asian origin, and so she's like, well, I don't feel comfortable doing that anymore, with the way things are now. And so they did recast her as another character who shows up in this latest one, because they talked about that. I don't know who Gambit's going to be, or the original voice actor for Gambit is, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually, kind of thing. But I'm very happy with it. Very happy with it so far, because I was very worried that the animation would be like a CGI thing, but no, it looks amazing.
It's pretty good. I can tell there's a few places where I can tell they're using 3D models, but it's
not as noticeable as I thought it would be.
I kind of wish that they hadn't been as slavish to that style, because I think that the original style is kind of bad looking.
Well, that's the funny thing, is that we're gonna some people are like, it's not as well animated. I'm like, I don't think you remember what this show looked like. Like, you don't, like, you're an insane person. I hear that sometimes at Spider-Man 90s. They're like, that show was so well made. I'm like, they used the same explosion like 1,000 times, and you can see, like, my favorite instance of it's the Carnage episode. So Venom breaks out of prison by breaking a wall and then jumping out. And so when Carnage does it, they use the literal same footage of Venom breaking the wall up.
Yeah.
And if you pause it at the right moment, you can still see Venom punching out the wall. So I'm like, that was the quality of the show in the 90s, guys. Don't pretend it was like fucking that anime intro we watched, that Japanese version that we saw at Matt's fucking New Year's thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah. Like, if it was that would be really cool. But
it was cheap American animation.
Yes.
And I wish that people weren't so nostalgic for that you could have just taken those character designs but actually animated them well, they
are animating them well. They're actually more animated now than they were then.
I think that the third episode really kicked it up a notch. Because like the first 2 episodes, I feel like they were doing a lot of that frame dropping stuff to make it look like it was like a little herkier and jerkier. But
that Madeline Pryor thing with Magneto was so well made.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. Well, you know what? Let's jump in. We got the weird smorgasbord this week, but we're going to try to tie it all together. We're going to try to tie the first part together with April Fools because I looked online.
We promise this won't be a 38-hour video.
Yes,
about the Beverly Hills Billies.
I looked at the stuff and I was like, meh. And then today I like looked into the stuff and I was like, oh, there's some good stuff in here. The weird thing is just that I have 3 different tabs open for April Fools because everybody was like, the best April Fools jokes of 2024. But then they left off like 4 good ones, and then it was like the best April Fool's joke of 2024, and then it was like they left off 6 of the good ones from the first article, and then I've got a Reddit thread here that's just like everything that happened, like anime shit and gotcha games, and like, you know, there was a Bang Bravern pan. Like sauce, like a cooking pan.
That's interesting.
Thing that was, I was like, what? Why?
I did see one April Fool's thing that made me laugh. You know that place I get my shirts from? Those Roosevelts. It was called the Reaper jacket or something like that. It was basically like a sweatshirt, but it was like all the way down to your legs, and the pockets were like right there. Instead of like, you know, where your stomach would be.
Sure.
And I was just staring at this thing. I was like, what the fuck?
Like a Snuggie?
Yeah, it was like a borderline a Snuggie, but it was like a giant hoodie, basically.
Okay.
Because it went all the way down to your legs, but the pockets were where your legs were, so it made even less sense.
Okay, well, I tell you what, let's jump in here. Let's see. My favorite, of course, was the Elden Ring one, where it was Bandai Namco just said, "Tarnished, look upon this Elden Ring expansion," and it's just the words Elden Ring and the word expansion slowly expanding and getting larger on the screen. Like, that's all it is.
That's a great joke. I love that.
Good job, you guys. That took like 10 minutes in Premiere, and that's a solid gag. Let's see what else we got here. CD Projekt Red basically said, "Oh, we've got a new version of Cyberpunk 2077 on floppy disks. 97,619 floppy disks."
Yeah, that's kind of what it might take to install everything.
Yeah,
in the past,
considering like how big that game actually is.
Those things could barely hold like an image of Super Mario Brothers on it.
It was what, 3.5 megabytes.
Something like
3.5 inch.
Yeah.
No. 3.5 inch disc was like 1.83.
Because you need like 10 of them to install Doom half the time.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually went to their website to see if this was one of the things where they were actually selling it. And then it just goes to like, no, man.
Yeah, there's some that actually did. That hoodie thing I mentioned to you, they did sell some of those.
Yeah, well, it's always a question now, right?
Yeah,
like, we've got so many things where it's just like, oh, here's the joke, but is that real? Like,
well, Devolver Digital's really bad about that. They're like, here's all these things, and then they have like an entire store.
Do you know what Devolver did this year?
I do not.
Oh, wow.
We'll
okay.
get to it, I assume.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get to it. I'm just kind of going down a list here, but they're all over the place. Dusk, the New Blood, put out like basically like you've heard about Dusk. Get ready for Dusk 1D, which is like an old school like dungeon crawler with like kind of cardboard enemies shaking around like an old like an old school. But then the thing is that they're actually putting those cardboard models on the Steam store for people to put in the game if they want. So
that's fun.
But that was fake. Let's see. Dead by Daylight had a thing. This one turned out to be real. That was called My Little Oni. That was the Oni like killer, but they just enlarged him to make him like a Godzilla, basically, like a giant dude. But like this is like a time limited thing where you can actually play this mode with the giant ass killer.
Well, it looks like they just made the people tiny, but I'm not really sure.
No. Well, if you look at like the cars and stuff, I mean, they may have made the people slightly smaller, but like nobody used to scale.
Yeah, because if you look at that person next to like the size of that truck on the left,
that's true.
It's like it's hard to figure out if they're big or small.
I think they made the killer bigger, and then they made the people smaller. I think they did both.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah,
because they're very small.
Yeah, they're very tiny. They're like childlike.
So yeah, let's see. IGN had I think teamed up with Nintendo to do this Virtual Boy Pro thing where it's like, oh, you strap the Switch to a VR headset, and then they had a bunch of fake like games. Except like you could tell that they're not exactly real, but like one of them was like an AR game, and they have like an Animal Crossing where you put stuff in your actual house.
That's a fun little idea.
I do like these two. Luigi's Mansion 4 is just a lady vacuuming.
Yeah,
like there's nothing else being shown on the screen.
I love the Animal Crossing one because it showed it's like the landlord asking for rent.
Yes,
that was pretty good.
So he's like yelling at the person, and halfway through it, just he fades out, and it just starts showing the Animal Crossing like dialogue with the like and then the last one is Mario Kart Open Road, and it's just like the lady looking over at Luigi who gives her like a fucking like slit your throat thing. So I don't know, it's funny because I actually think that they had that cardboard Virtual Boy, the cardboard thing for the Labo, right? And I always thought that it would be fun to see some more stuff, because the Switch is so light that you could put it into an actual honest-to-God headset.
Yeah, but some people probably would be just so paranoid about it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But I don't know, it's tricky.
But I don't know. That was pretty good, I thought. It was a pretty high production. Let's see. What else do we have here? Honkai Star Rail made like a parody of their mascot Pom Pom as a selectable character in Street Fighter 6.
I'd use them.
And then it's basically just like the character select screen, and then when they go into the actual game, it kind of just fades out. But I don't know. I mean,
it's clear it's not like an actual, like it's not part of the actual thing.
Yeah,
when you really pay attention to it.
Let's see, what else do we got here? Sega had a thing that was called CLC. So instead of downloadable content, this was cartridge loadable content, where it was like parodying the old Sega stack.
Yeah.
Of basically having like, 5 or 6 cartridges all stacked on top of each other. And then they basically had like a big head mode for Sonic, where it's Sonic with a big inflated dumb head.
I love it's called big head mode, but instead of like making it just like a normal giant head, it looks like his head has been inflated.
Right.
And he's holding his breath.
Yeah. He looks like his eyes are going a different direction.
Yeah, it's like horrifying, but really funny because it's so unnerving.
Yep. Let's see. So here's Devolver. Devolver, this one was really interesting, Michael, because Devolver basically put out the statement, okay? And this one says, having mastered the independent video game, Devolver Digital found itself searching for a new medium to conquer, but which? And then they go into all this stuff. Then it hit us like a bolt of lightning. Reality television, beautiful people, glamorous settings, explosive drama, clashing egos, crushed dreams, unquenchable thirst. This is the medium for us. What we did for violent pixelated video games, we will now do for reality shows. And then they said, watch this space, more will be revealed tomorrow. And the thing is that they actually revealed a game.
Okay.
It's a game called The Crush House, which is like basically like you play as a camera person in a reality TV house, and you have to like capture, you decide who's going to be on the show, and then you have to capture like the individual the making out and the arguments and stuff to
all
like
the drama stuff.
Yeah, to make a good reality show. But then also in this trailer, there's a part where they're just like, and don't look behind the scenes unless you want to find out something that you could never like unknow. You'll know what you can't unknow. So it's almost like there's also some kind of weird dark backstory thing going on in the reality show house.
But we have one important question, Jeff.
Yes.
Is there a zip line?
I didn't see one in the trailer, but I don't know. But yeah, there's actually a trailer for this out now. It's being made by Nariel, who made they made like Reigns mostly. They're mostly known for all the Reigns games.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's coming out this year. You can put it on your wish list. I was like, good job, Devolver.
I love Devolver. They make really good choices.
They also call it I don't know, this the IGN headline on this is it's a thirst person shooter. I'm like, that's pretty good.
I really love that, actually. That's kind of amazing.
So yeah, go check that out. I mean, Devolver fucking using excuses to do stuff. In other romantic news, Palworld, everybody's been giving Palworld a lot of shit because what they decided to do was the thing a lot of companies have already done, which is like, here's a dating game with the pals from Palworld. They made a little trailer. I mean, it's not like a real thing, but everybody's like, oh, and then Palworld decided to go with the most tired thing ever. Ooh, look, a dating game with the characters from our game. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like,
no, they're just having fun, guys.
Everybody's got to start somewhere. They're not a AAA studio.
Yeah, it's just a quick, fun little idea.
Yeah,
it's just what it is, man. Like, fuck off.
Yep.
I knew that fucking that Pow would show up.
Lavander, yeah. And then the trainer that is that rides Grisbolt. And then the Black Marketeer is also there. I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job of putting it all together. It wouldn't surprise me if they took some of the gajillions that they made and outsourced it to like that same studio that did the one for Dead by Daylight. Or
I would be surprised.
Something.
Yeah, the KFC one.
KFC. I Love You, Colonel Sanders. I told you about this one yesterday. Power Wash Simulator put out one that is like, it's just a reverse. Yeah. So instead of spraying and then things becoming clean, you spray and then things become dirty. Which, just like reverse the game, right?
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
You can also tell that that's all it is. It's just footage that's reversed.
People are really, I was looking at the tweet for this and people were like, man, why don't you make it? Because, Power Simulator has multiplayer. And like you make two teams and have one of them that is dirtying and one that is cleaning, and see who can win. It just seems to me like you'd probably end up in a stalemate, right?
It would be hard to figure out how to make that work without being annoying, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you have to limit what you have on both sides, I feel.
Yeah.
To keep them from like being like, oh, I have the ultimate everything kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas dirtying it feels like it's faster to do than it would be to clean it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tricky one. But it would be doable. You would just do the Splatoon rules basically, where like you time it and then when it ends, like you percentage and then go from there. Kind of thing.
Exactly like Splatoon.
Yeah,
yeah.
Except that you don't have to kill each other, kind of thing, to stop each other.
The Pokemon Company made this video. I don't know if you saw this. This is a 4-minute video that is like a parody of esports, but it's a Pokemon Sleep championship tournament. And so it's like 5 contestants. They've got like an audience, and it's like they're all gonna go to sleep and we're gonna see who's able to sleep the best. And so when they do all the like prep work, or when they finally go to sleep, it's like as they're sleeping they're doing like different things, so they're like scoring them based on like how they're sleeping.
It's kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it's fun, but it's kind of creepy.
It was weird. It was very weird. It was like one guy just standing up. He's sleeping standing up.
I'd give that guy the score for it.
Yeah. So I didn't watch this whole thing, but it's pretty funny because they're pretty good at like, a very good parody of like.
Well, yeah, it's the fact that they built this whole set and they have like a literal audience.
Yeah.
Like if you just did this like in a weird CGI kind of thing, it probably wouldn't be as interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty funny too. That's the official Pokemon YouTube channel.
Good for them.
Let's see.
I love that the Snorlax is the icon for it.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Yacht Club Games did a really weird thing where they're like, oh, we're gonna start making beauty products, and the first beauty product is called D, and it's just dirt. It's just like Shovel Knight's dirt in a container that you smear all over yourself.
Protects you from predators.
They do have a good gag here at the end with Shovel Knight, shovel certified dermatologist. So
that's fun.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's pretty
really
good.
Fun.
Let's see. Among Us had a whole thing that was long characters.
Long mode,
yeah. So like the characters can stretch. And then this is a thing that's actually in the game. I think it'll actually be done by the time this podcast comes out because it's only for a week.
Yeah,
but it was like
Monday, I think is what it said.
Yeah, so it depends on whether you're listening to this on Sunday or on Monday. But they put the work into it. Like it's pretty solid.
Yeah. That's fun. I never. Yeah, I haven't played it in a very long time. I'm glad it's still going well.
Last time I played it was when we played it for Christmas.
Yeah,
like I haven't played it since then.
Yeah, I might have played it one other time after that.
Let's see. So that was a second article. Neither of these articles had that IGN thing. And then here's my Reddit post. Let me see if I can find a few things in here. Some of this stuff is more interesting than others. Like they put Pochaco from Hello Kitty into the Grand Blue Fantasy like gotcha game, but like with actual animations and stuff.
Oh, that's fun.
So
I did see one recently. It was the Dragon Ball. It was a Dragon Ball mobile game. They put in an event where it was Raditz versus the farmer with a shotgun.
Okay.
And that was the entire thing. And you could unlock like the shotgun, the farmer with a shotgun's outfit for your main character.
Is that for real?
Yeah. That was a real thing. And it was an actual mission that you had that you could finish.
Oh, Sonic or Sega had a thing where they said that Sonic Man is going to be the official brand ambassador. It was like a character from 2006's what was that? From Sonic 2006. It was like a guy.
Oh, he was. I guess he was like a fan of his or something you could run into.
Yeah. But they have like an actual guy. They have a whole website with him doing this.
That's really fun, actually. I actually wouldn't mind if that's just the thing that they kept, because that's kind of funny.
Sega really likes to do this shit, but you know.
Sega's a strange one when it comes to Sonic. They either go all in or they don't at all, and it's just fascinating when they decide to.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a lot of Japanese companies did stuff. There's the Bang Bravern thing. Capcom said that it's going to be selling Capcom branded helicopters. I don't know what the fuck that's even about.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. Razer had the Cthulhu gaming chair, which is just like, I don't know. I don't like this one because I feel like a lot of their other shit was kind of doable, but this is like a gaming chair with Doc Ock arms on the back that like do stuff for you so that you can keep gaming. They like put food in your mouth and brush your teeth and comb your hair and stuff.
Well, that's like that, and for some April Fools, that's kind of like the point. Is just like absurd shit.
Yeah,
and that's an absurd one that I can get behind.
Yeah, I mean, like I liked the Razer. With the RGB on it.
I forgot about that. Yeah, did they actually sell that at one point?
I think so. I know they made the face mask. Yeah, the N95.
I remember that one
mask that ended up being terrible when they actually put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they did that. Let's see what else. I actually really did appreciate Naraka Blade Point. You know that like online. Like kind of battle royale, Asian-inspired battle royale. They were like, new weapon in Naraka Blade Point, hands. And it was like,
so this is him getting his fucking slapped.
So you think about that, you're like, oh, is this for real? Do they put like melee attacks in the game, right? Do they put like a kung fu mode in the game? And no, it's like a bunch of other dumb shit. Like you could grab the blades out of their hands, and then like the person gets their hand chopped off, and then their hand like comes back over to them like Thing from the Addams Family, and like
well, one of them is a reference to a Naruto thing that happens.
Yeah.
What's that one where Kakashi like pokes Naruto in his ass?
Oh, in the butt. Yeah. There's like, oh, do a high five, and you can like recruit people into your squad.
Oh, that would be fun if they could actually get that to work.
And then they can clap for you. And it's all this like
literal hands.
And then at some point it's just like pick up another person with your hands and use them like a weapon. Like they just turn stiff like a sword.
That's fucking amazing.
And it's like so yeah, it's funnier than just like at first I was like, well, that sounds stupid. Then I watched, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of funny.
It's fun, stupid.
Yeah.
Although I love the way it starts because it's the guy like doing a pose and then just getting fucking bitch slapped.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Let's see. Blah, 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 blah.
Metabots is still a thing? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. There's actually, this is, well, I don't know what this is, but it's like some kind of robot phone game or something. And they're teaming up with Go Nagai to like get a bunch of Go Nagai characters into
that's interesting.
Metabot. I mean, when they show it, it's just like this little. I don't know what this game is. Like, I don't know what it's available for.
It looks just to be like a phone game because Metabots was about just like these little robots that fought each other.
Oh, okay.
There was an anime that I grew up with that they I think 4Kids translated here. Okay. It was crazy as shit, but I don't know that you can buy it on Blu-ray.
They even have like a Devilman bot, which is really interesting. So, oh yeah, Arma had like a like an army man mode where it was like tiny little guys and they made them red and green and you were kind of running around fighting each other.
That's fun.
Like tiny guys. Let's see, what else do we got here? Coffee Stain.
What was the For Honor one?
Oh, I don't know what that one is. For Honor was actually funny because it's like a video. And it's like, it's called Switcheroo, and it's all the characters had their weapons switched around at random to other characters.
Oh.
And so I think it's the actual mode that you can play, but the video is just all the guys in For Honor not knowing how to use their weapons, and then like they're like hitting themselves or like falling over, they can't hold on to them, or they're trying to make them work. And they just don't work, and there's just one guy in the middle, like kind of looking at everybody, just like, I don't know what they're doing. So
I love the one that's like the katana guy tries to get the sword out and just hits himself in the face.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's pretty funny.
That's a fun
video.
So
weird to think that like For Honor is still a fucking thing.
I'm always surprised by that too, but I'm happy for them because I'm it sounds like a fun time still.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the big stuff. We actually had there was some other stuff. I mean, I didn't get everything. There were some free games that came out. Oh wait, yeah. God damn it. Overwatch did a thing.
Oh yeah.
They had the really, really, really balanced patch where it was like you could do all kinds of really dumb shit and everybody's got googly eyes on their face. But like I watched a video and it was like one was like, oh, Torbjorn can put turrets anywhere, like they stick to walls. And then at one point he put one on top of his head and it just stuck there and he was like running forward to do stuff. Weird shit like that. Like characters can do all kinds of like crazy other stuff. Nothing more than that though. Blizzard's getting sloppy. They used to be some of the best. But
a lot of stuff used to be the best at it. And I remember back when gaming magazines were the best at fooling people during April Fool's stuff. Like, to unlock this thing, all you have to do is drive a truck there. There was something like just weird shit, and then people would try it because they had no idea.
Yeah. One thing that happened was Hollow Knight Silk Song got a game page on Xbox.
I did hear about this.
Like a page that you can actually like pre-order the game and like wishlist it, and it was like, that means it's probably pretty close. Now, we don't cover this game all that much, but like people are crazy for Hollow Knight. I've tried it 3 times, and I was just like, I don't fucking
it wasn't
get it.
For me.
It wasn't really like my bag. But then this expansion has been like, the people have been craving it like crazy. So it's kind of like when we used to have like, GTA 6 registered the word jet ski. Everybody's like, what? What does it mean?
Yeah, this has been ages since they've announced this thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I found out this on Twitter because there's a lot of like, there were jokes about like, ha ha. It's like, oh my God, it's real.
Yeah.
Just people very excited. Yeah.
Because this means that it's probably like, it's probably getting pretty close. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to though.
Good for them.
Yep. Another interesting. Okay, this was an interesting thing that happened on. Oh, actually, this is an interesting thing that happened on April Fools. Okay, so there's a joke, and then there's an interesting situation around the joke. So Discord put out this little video, and it was loot boxes. Discord's gonna have loot boxes. Low. And people were like, that's funny. Now, Michael, I want you to tell the audience how many hits this 17-second loot box Discord thing has.
Holy shit, that's 1,406,652,000
32,865
and then 865.
But like
the 3 days ago.
The top line here is 1.4 billion.
Yes.
So just to put
Jesus Christ.
To put this in comparison, like let's look at the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer.
Yeah. One of the highest rated or watched trailers in like a 24-hour time frame.
Yeah. So Grand Theft Auto trailer number 1 is 184 million hits. The Discord one is 1.4 billion hits.
There's not a lot of things that have beaten that in general.
Yes. And do you know how this happened?
No.
So it turns out that Discord embedded this video inside of Discord in the like thing that pops up telling you what new stuff happens on
and
Discord.
Then it just auto-played?
And then everybody that uses Discord got it several times. And then it was technically a hit because it was loaded in the background.
That's amazing.
Waiting for you to scroll down and unmute it. So... And Discord didn't even know what had happened. Like, they have this tweet where they're just like this is from one of the developers on Discord who's like, how the fuck is this video getting so many views?
Oh my God.
And they just like they just tweeted like oops. And somebody said bit more than oops. They're like, you're right, this is more of a whoops situation. And then somebody said, so what's next? Is YouTube going to do something about it or like? And then Discord's response on Twitter was, stop pressuring me. I just broke a world record. I have no idea what we're doing next.
That is one of the most amazing things that has ever happened.
Yeah.
And no one, I would have never guessed that's why that would happen.
Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
You know, nothing bad happened. It was just like.
Do they get the ad revenue for that?
No, I don't think so, because I think it's just I don't know. I have YouTube Red, so I don't see ads, but like.
No, but I mean, like, does like that's crazy.
I don't think so.
That's so fucking crazy.
Because obviously they weren't trying to do that, right?
No.
Like, they didn't know what the fuck was happening. So it was like that was maybe the best April Fools, because they did a thing that was an April Fool's joke, and then it became like a thing that looked like then somebody else was pranking them, but like, no, it's actually real.
This is a real thing that's happened.
Oh, it's inadvertent, but like, what is happening?
There has been some legitimately interesting things this year for April Fools, and I did joke about that, the 38-hour thing. Did you hear about that one?
Which one?
There's a guy named Quentin Reviews. I found this guy's on Twitter a lot, but I found this on because everyone was talking about it. For April Fools, his dad wrote and filmed a 38-hour long review about the Beverly Hillbillies like series as well as its spinoffs.
Okay.
And it is a 38-hour long video on YouTube. And I was like, there's no way. And I found it. And I was like, no, this sucker is literally 38 hours. And this man literally talks about the Beverly Hillbillies for that long, but with like some stuff edited in between of it.
Oh, shit,
course.
I missed some. God damn it.
And it's just like amazing. April Fools is like that's just an amazing April Fool's video. It took it so long to upload that it uploaded the next day, because he started it at like midnight on April Fool's, and it just lasted the whole day. And he's like, just pretend this came out yesterday, guys.
Wow.
Crazy shit.
I did miss a few. Deep Rock Galactic had like this blog post on Steam that made it like the loot bugs from that game are real.
I heard about those.
Doctored into a bunch of stuff. That was okay. House Flipper 2 had the floor is lava mode. That's actually like it's just like a challenge mode of kind of jumping between stuff where the floor is lava.
It's fun.
I don't know. I wish that they made this stuff look more like houses and less like weird tracks, because like the further this goes on, the more it just becomes these like kind of like empty platform warehouses. Like
what they should have done is just set it up to where it's like a house that they built that just has the floor on lava, and then have that filmed instead.
There's a game called Farthest Frontier that's like a city game that basically created a beta on Steam that replaced every human character with a bear. And you can just opt into it and play with Oops All Bears.
I love that. That's such a great idea.
One of my so there's the that's why I didn't get the Overwatch thing. Anyway, the googly eyes are really silly. But one of my favorites also was the Rusty Lake people put out an AI generator called Dale E. I think Dale is like one of the devs, or he's like the president. I don't know much about those guys. But it was basically just like you can they uploaded like all of the assets from the Rusty Lake games, and then when you type a thing, it just generates a weird scene, but it doesn't look anything like, it's not like what you asked for.
Yeah,
like
it's just randomly generating something.
Yeah. I did notice I fucked with it a little bit because I was curious to know, but like here, if I put in ice cream party and then hit let's make some memories, I just get like an old man in a chair. I got a party, sort of got an old man in a chair, a guy with a horse head, and like a clock and like a streamer full of banners, all in the Rusty Lake style. But it's not like an actual. It's not there's no ice cream
that we know of.
The dude does have ice in a cup, so it's close.
It tried.
Yeah, I do know that if you type in the word fish, that it does load a fish. Like it's not just like random. It's doing something. It is trying to link something, but it doesn't always have a thing. But like when you type in fish, this weird grouper anglerfish guy always comes up. So
just on top of a random image.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
And last, before we go on break, Michael, you might think that IHOP's Sonic inspired pancake offerings are an April Fool's joke. They are not.
No.
These are real. They are offering a whole series of Sonic-themed breakfast things, except for Knuckles. Knuckles has a chicken sandwich because, of course, that edgelord has to have his own thing.
He's got to be different.
So Sonic's got like a blueberry pancake thing, and like Tails has just like 2 of everything: 2 eggs, 2 bacon, 2 pancakes. They got Shadow Chaos chocolate pancakes. And apparently any of these can be ordered with a side of golden rings, which is just like onion rings for like an additional $2 or something like that.
That's fun.
But yeah, this shit's going on until May. So if you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm a little disappointed. This is a kitchen. This is a Sonic thing. Where do I get pancakes with 2 chili dogs on top? Because
this is the funniest thing about when I found this out is that the internet goes, for the love of God, why are you not partnered with this literal restaurant named Sonic that sells chili dogs?
Yep.
Like, what is wrong with you people?
Yep.
But it really just comes down to who gives them more money.
Yep.
But I still find it really funny that like they've gone to 2 movies already and a 3rd one coming out, and Sonic has yet to have been given a partnership with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hell yeah. You could make a blue cherry limeade.
There's so many things they could do with it.
Put a few pumps of blue in that cherry limeade. Give me a foot-long chili dog and some golden onion rings. That's the Sonic combo right there, baby.
And they still try to go around it sometimes because some Sonics will be like, find a hedgehog here kind of thing, like on the sign or something. But they can't say the word Sonic the Hedgehog on it.
Well, that was April Fool's. I think there's some pretty good stuff in there.
There is some solid stuff this year.
There's some more
last
stuff.
year, we didn't. I don't even remember what happened last year.
I don't either. Whatever it was, it didn't make enough of an impression. So, but with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we have some actual news to get to.
Yes.
So we'll see you in a minute with that. And Michael, unfortunately, the way I had my news laid out, I was so ready to transition from the lighthearted story about Sonic pancakes into this layoff story. But now we're back from break, and it's going to just be this layoff story. But because I've explained my segue, it still counts as a valid segue. God damn it!
Did they fire Sonic Man?
They fired Sonic Man. No, they actually laid off 240 people.
And was Sonic Man one of them?
No, I don't think
okay?
so. I don't think so. Yeah, this is 240 jobs across Creative Assembly, Sega Europe, Sonic Dream Team, and Hardlight. Just basically kind of more of the same.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we haven't had this story. These are like European employees. I think we had a story from Sega of America a little while back.
We had
and then there was a union.
Unionized,
but I know they laid off a bunch of contractors before that union vote went through. But this is mostly European companies. There's actually a really interesting thing though that happened here. This is closer to how the thing that happened with was it Saber, where they bought themselves out of their Embracer contract. Relic did the same thing. They bought themselves out of their Sega contract and they're going indie, basically. Or they have, according to the report, they have like a big investor, basically, that's helping them to do that. What was really interesting was that I was like, okay, Relic. And I know the last thing they put out was like Company Heroes, but so I went back to look Relic up. Relic started as the company that came out of the gate and made Homeworld and Homeworld 2.
Oh.
Then they were bought by THQ Nordic, and they made like the Company of Heroes series. They made that oh god, what the fuck was it called? It was like a game, it was like a real-time strategy game where you could mix and match animal parts and make like a tiger with like claws.
Yeah.
It was called something.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember them having to get anymore.
So they made that. They made a few different things, and then they were purchased. Let's see, I can find out. It was called Impossible Creatures.
Okay.
So then they made a few other things. They made like the Dawn of War series, which I really liked. The Warhammer 40K RTS.
Yeah.
Then THQ went out of business, and Sega bought them as they were going out of business from THQ.
Oh,
and then Sega had them making the Dawn of War, like the Total War, Warhammer 40K games, as well as a few other things. And then now they bought themselves out of their Sega contract. What a roller coaster ride for these guys.
And didn't they have like some issues or something with the Total War stuff going on with their community or something, if I remember correctly?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, the Warhammer community is fucking, they're their own specific brand of insanity. So, but yeah, they were founded in 1997.
Damn.
And they were independent, and now it's 2024, and now they're independent again.
Good for them.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know. Like, it sucks for the people that were laid off. It's a better result for Relic, even though I believe that Relic is also having to downsize a little bit. Everybody's having to downsize. I'm pretty sure that it's we've talked about the reasons for this before, but I'm pretty sure it's just lack of VC capital. Like in the economy right now,
it was a mixture of things.
Because it can't be that every single studio across the entire world overhired during the pandemic. It can't just be that everybody did it, because just about every single company out there has been laying people off.
Well, it makes sense that the gaming companies might have, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of them did, because gaming was in such a peak high during the pandemic, because everybody was home and the only thing they could do was either watch all their shows or play all their games. And most of them decided on the game side.
But I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that, like, Relic, like, the guys that made Total Warhammer,
Relic is definitely that one's definitely an instance of, like, we just don't have enough money to hang on to you at the moment, kind of thing.
See, that's why I think it's more just like, I think that there was more. I just think there was more venture capital out there sloshing around.
That's the cause of not just gaming companies, but everybody.
Yes.
That one is definitely the highest cause of everything.
Yeah. Let's see. Gearbox is doing some layoffs as well.
Please be Randy Pitchford.
It's unconfirmed how many people, but basically this was after, again, I mean, this just seems like what it's just like the entire industry is contracting right now, right?
Yes, and Embracer sold them to Take-Two.
Yes. Embracer sold them. We covered that last week. And then as part of it looks like they're probably just trying to, like, cut down. I think that a lot of the people that are getting cut here come from Gearbox Publishing, because remember they basically were, like, publishing other stuff.
That makes sense.
So it makes a certain amount of sense to start crunching down, especially if you're part of a larger publisher. You're like, we don't need our publishing arm anymore.
Also, Take-Two is a very, like,
ruthless
throat cut motherfucker.
Yeah,
they probably walked in the door and like, oh, I'm welcome to here, and they just stabbed him like right the second they walked in.
Strauss Zelnick is not fucking around.
No, he does not fuck around.
It's just the red wedding over there. We're just big slips.
If anything, I hope Randy Pitchford died, but I doubt it. But
do you think Gearbox could survive without Randy Pitchford?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. What does Randy Pitchford do anymore?
Magic.
Other than be
He's
like
the magic man.
Other than walk up to Eli Roth and be like, "We're friends now."
He's making
fucking magic, and then also be like, I worked on Duke Nukem once, and that's all he says, and you're just like, cool, I guess.
I don't know. Some of the old guard.
I'm sure he'd be great friends with Elon Musk.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that also that dude isn't doing jack shit at Gearbox anymore. He's all about the movie. He's all about the Borderlands movie.
I told you when I talked to the voice actor of Duke Nukem, I was like, you ever going to make any more? And he's just like, between me and you, I don't, like, I think I don't know. And I'm just like, is it because of Randy Pitchford? He's like, I didn't say it.
Yeah. Speaking of Embracer Group, they've got a brand new strategy, Michael. Make good games.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I don't know how this could have happened.
Lars Winjafors or whatever you say that. He says now actually, it's funny because they have finished. They have completed, quote unquote, completed their restructuring process. So they've like sold off all the assets that they've got to sell off. They've pared down. They've slaughtered enough of the video game industry that they could stay alive another day. But then he's like, people keep coming up to me and asking if they could buy some of the studios that we own, and I'm like, no, we're done with that. And they're just like, really? Because I mean, I got some money over here.
You could always use to not have another studio.
Yeah,
like, honestly, like. If they waited, probably everyone would have just bought everything from them, and they probably would have just made their money back.
Yeah.
Because they didn't spend a lot on some of those companies.
It was just, I don't know, just a operating cost bloodbath. They basically said, like, to increase profitability and cash flow generation, their new strategy is to, quote, simply make better products and games. who could have imagined that the way to make more money was to make a better product?
I think of that fucking gif where it's like Drake and that one guy working at the Apple Store, like, yeah, well, of course. Yeah, why didn't I think of that?
Right.
It's just like, come on, guys, what the fuck?
But then this quote too is just like weird to me. I think it's way too early to start talking about restarting the M&A engines again, which is mergers and acquisitions. Now we're in the late phases of the consideration into the future of the group. That's our highest focus and priority. How we set up ourselves and structure ourselves, and utilize our assets we have within the group, and have them work together. It's like don't buy more shit. You're like I don't. You know, I remember like 4 or 5 years ago when I was like, Embracer Group, they seem like a good company. And
they seem to know what they're doing. They're buying all these places.
They're doing fire sales and like Deus Ex, and maybe give these guys a way to work. And it was just like, nope, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing over there. Like,
well, it was interesting because it was just like, because it happened so fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, and then, it slowly went downhill. Embracer was like, they just like the second they were like they lost that billion-something
$2 billion investment from a private investor
from like apparently somebody in Saudi Arabia. I think
Saudi Arabia
was
investment.
It was
yeah,
the second that happened, they turned around. They're like, okay, you guys got to pack your shit and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
literally on a dime.
Like when Saints Row came out and they were just like, oh, like it's not really making as much as we hoped, but like we want to keep sticking with it and see how it goes. And then it was like this happened. They were like, destroy Volition, destroy them immediately, like burn them to the ground,
nuke them from orbit. Who else can we nuke from orbit?
Throw them out on the street and sell the chairs.
Like it was bad.
Yeah,
it happened so fast that no one saw it coming.
Fucking assholes. At least Microsoft isn't gonna like. Microsoft's buying up a lot of important studios right now, but at least Microsoft is probably not gonna shut down Bethesda because some Saudi maniac didn't give them a fucking huge investment chunk of money. Like
something would have to go horribly wrong for them to start firing him in that kind of way.
Could you guys just be more sane? Could you just like take it a little bit easy instead of just being these fucking like fuck you guys, man.
Fucking Embracer, man.
Just be kind of cool. Just be a little cool. We also got news last week from Saber. Speaking of Saber, that that KOTOR remake is quote unquote alive and well. It's still being worked on. We got it. We got it on the block. We're still working on it. Don't worry, everybody. We're still hard at work remaking Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm just like, there's a lot of hubbub over a remake of a game that it was like well beloved, but like I mean, if this thing doesn't look like Metal Gear Delta when it comes out, I'm just gonna be like, you guys spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money on just like, it's fine. Why didn't you just get that mod group that was already like halfway through porting KOTOR to Unreal and just give them the project?
It would be easier, yeah.
Give them like $150,000 and be like, okay, give me a game by fucking 2 years from now.
Every time I hear, though, the alive and well thing, my first thought is that Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where they're like, Debbie is healthy, happy, and very much alive. Like, oh, Debbie's dead. Debbie's real dead.
Oh, Debbie's real dead. Yeah. So no further details. This is from an investor call. No further details, just like, nope, it's still happening. So maybe we'll put that one on the board with Tekken Cross Street Fighter and
you know what I completely forgot had happened? You remember when Microsoft had announced they were remaking some old game on like E3 and then
Phantom Dust?
Yeah, and then it turns out it was canceled like the same day.
They did a remaster. I think they were making a sequel, and the sequel got canceled?
Yeah, they canceled it the same day they announced it, apparently.
Okay.
Which is like, how? Why?
Which one was the platinum one, that Dragon one?
Dragons... Not Dogma. What was it? Dogma? Void or something? I don't even remember. No, Scalebound.
Scalebound.
It's called Scalebound.
There you go.
I knew it was going to hit me.
It's alive and well.
It's alive and well,
being worked on. Don't worry about it.
Tekken Cross Street Fighter's coming out soon, guys.
Quit asking me about it. Quit fucking asking me about it. So, yeah, I don't know.
New Mass Effect or whatever.
Again, also, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, though, Michael. Saber Interactive is not a premier studio.
No.
So, like, I'm very much expecting a kind of mid-range broken, like, quote-unquote remaster, but, like,
well, they did... The last time they did a remaster that I remember was the Ghostbusters game remaster, and it was like they didn't even get the multiplayer done.
Well, no, they did that Battlefront, right? The Battlefront remaster?
Was that them?
They mostly. Oh wait, maybe I'm thinking of somebody different. No, oh no, they're different. Let's see.
I know they did the Ghostbusters one.
I was thinking of the guys. I was thinking of Aspire, not
okay.
Aspire did that shit.
No, they did the Ghostbusters one, and the issue with that one was they're like, we're going to rebuild the multiplayer from the ground up because they lost the original code to it,
right?
And then they just never did.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I guess this was what happened. It's cool. Fuck you guys.
I don't know, man. Like,
also, that remaster is very strange because it doesn't even have it's missing the audio for the opening. Like, like when it says like these are the companies.
Yeah.
Like there's some parts where like there was definitely audio in the original version of that, and it's just silent now. It's just fucking weird.
I have a story about that in a minute, so we'll get to some of that. Let's see. Here's some good news. Here's some good development news. So, were you on when we talked about
them shutting it down?
Evil Empire and what the hell was the main Dead Cells guys? Motion Twin.
Yeah.
And how the Motion Twin guy was just like, fuck those guys. And how Evil Empire's been like the one that's been doing all the updates to Dead Cells.
Yeah.
Apparently they're making a roguelike Prince of Persia Metroidvania style game, and it's coming out this year into early access.
That was fast. Do you think it'll use some of the stuff from that current Prince of Persia game?
No, apparently it's not connected to that game at all.
Oh,
it's a completely different company because that was made by Ubisoft Lyon. They made the Rayman games. So this is like just completely different project, and apparently it's been in the works since like 2019.
That's crazy as shit.
And it's coming out this year also. So like two 2D Prince of Persia games in the same year.
I'm cool with this. Those are the only good things coming out of Ubisoft now.
Oh, well, it also puts a little bit more in perspective how like Evil Empire didn't seem especially put out, or they didn't kick very much.
Yeah, they weren't like
shut them down.
They weren't like telling the world to burn that place down to the ground, because that I've seen that happen when a company gets fucked over. They're like, I don't give a fuck. I'll talk about this all day, every day.
Yeah,
they were just like, look, they suck ass, but we're fine.
We're moving on to other things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
good for them. I'm happy for them. That's a good get.
Hey, you know what? If Ubisoft wants to take some of the shit that they don't want to work on, like outsource it to fucking smaller teams that do want to work on it, I'm very happy to see Ubisoft stop internal development on a lot of their shit, because they do not seem to know what the fuck they're doing.
Look,
like
Jeff,
half the
we're
time.
doing another Gwimbly game. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
That was amazing. I watched that Smiling Friends. I love the CEO of the game company. I liked the dipping joke. That was just like, that was so awesome, the way that it was animated with him dipping into all the different sauces.
If you guys haven't seen the new Smiling Friends, please go watch that.
It's very
also,
good.
Did you hear what the shit people are doing with Quimbley?
No.
They've already modded him in the Mario Kart.
Okay.
They're working on modding him into fucking Smash Brothers right now.
Great.
They've already made like a bunch of fake like ads and shit for him.
Nice.
Like they're doing a lot of shit with Quimbley. And it had only been like a couple of days since that episode happened.
Yeah. It was, it's very good. It's very good. Y'all should go, definitely watch that. Watch all of Smiling Friends. Watch it all if you
really
haven't.
good.
It will not take you long. It's like Aqua Teen Hunger Force levels of show. Most of them are 10 to 15 minutes long. So
very short.
Let's see. In other news, this is interesting. I don't know if you ran across this. There's a YouTuber out there. Let me make sure that I know the name. So Ross Scott, that's in the wrong order, Ross. You need Scott Ross as a better name, but I can't.
Well, isn't that the name of a YouTuber? No,
yes. Yes.
Is it?
He runs Accursed Farms as the channel.
Oh, okay.
And he's basically creating he has a whole 30-minute YouTube video that talks about this. It's talking about how games that only run on a dedicated server, like, we want to make this shit illegal. Like, if a company sells you a video game, and this is specifically because on April 1st, Ubisoft shut down the Crew servers.
Oh.
Without the Crew servers, the Crew is
dead.
Non-functional, right? There's no content that you can play without being connected to the Crew servers. So his argument is basically just like, this is a $60 video game. You paid $60 for it. Companies should not be allowed to just then like turn it off.
No.
Like, if nothing else, they should have to patch in a way for people to run their own servers, private servers, if they do not want to do support anymore for it. If they sell DLC, that DLC should be available indefinitely. If there's an authentication with the server for any reason whatsoever, and that server is going to be shut down, that authentication should be like patched out of the game, basically. And what's interesting is that, unlike just Jeff over here, like bitching about this shit for a long time, he actually set up a website. It's called stopkillinggames.com, and it's specifically set up for, I believe it's Britain and Australia and one other country where they actually have like consumer laws on the books that this is violating.
Yeah.
Saying like, with the whole process about here is how you submit a complaint directly to your government, directly to your Consumer Affairs Bureau or whatever the equivalent is. And the thing is that, unfortunately, the first step, it's like you do the complaint and then you have to wait for 2 weeks and then you come back and do a second thing. So he's like, I'm really worried that people are going to forget about it. It's going to go out of their head. They're not going to come back. But this website has all the directions and all the contacts to basically go out these the companies and say, like, you are not allowed to sell something and then just turn it off. You are not allowed to sell me a $60 thing and then just turn the switch off for it without making sure that it can be played in the future, which I'm fully on board with.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
it's a major problem, and it's only gotten worse in the new age of gaming.
Yeah.
This wasn't really an issue back, when played like PS2 and earlier than that for console stuff, especially.
Yeah.
PC games is kind of varied, but even then, the companies didn't give a shit if you did end up making your own servers, which is how Quake 3, lasted as long as it did.
Sure.
And so the fact that, like, nowadays, though, if you do that, they fucking come after you.
Yeah.
For something they're not even using anymore.
Yep. And yeah, it's definitely, as time goes on, it's going to become more and more of a problem. It's already a problem in a lot of ways, but yeah, go check out that website. Go check out that YouTube channel. The website is stopkillinggames.com, and the YouTuber is Accursed Farms. The video is called "The Largest Campaign Ever to Stop Publishers Destroying Games." It goes through all the rationale, the steps. I believe France is the other country that I saw.
Which makes sense. Yeah, a lot of those places have much better consumer protection laws than anywhere else.
Right. Because in the United States, it's like, well, you didn't buy that game, you licensed it, you agreed to the EULA.
Yeah.
Well, that was the other thing, is that like to basically start being like, you can't agree to a EULA that says that the company can turn off a server, like, or can make the game unplayable. That's really the thing. It's not necessarily like, you guys don't have to keep your servers up forever, but you can't make it so that a game that a consumer spent money on ceases to function even after a certain amount of time. Yeah. So you have to put protections in place to let that shit not happen. And yeah, I'm 100%. Go do that. Are you in France? Are you in England? Are you in Australia? From my YouTube analytics, probably not. But if you are, go do that shit.
Yeah.
Go do that shit.
Please do that.
Let's see. Speaking of turning off games, we got some interesting comments from a lawyer about the Adult Swim delisting stuff that happened.
So stupid.
This is from Brandon Huffman, an attorney who does volunteer work for the International Game Developers Association, expressing like expressing confusion at why you would delist all these games.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost any money to keep them on Steam.
That doesn't make any sense.
Like, it doesn't cost any money to continue to have them listed on the game stores. The only difference is, like, you could make a profit, maybe, like, at some point.
Yeah.
But,
it's
like,
weird. It isn't, I still don't understand what's happening with it, because a lot of these rights aren't even owned by them.
Yeah.
Which is why it's even weirder.
Yep. Because
that means that they don't even have to do anything for something they don't even own and still make money off of it.
Yes. They also talk about how, like, there's a lot of confusion inside of Warner Brothers as to, like, okay, well, you made a game and Adult Swim published it. Who do you contact? And it's like, a lot of the people in the original contracts don't work there anymore.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like it's unclear. Some of their contracts will state, like, you have to take, this was the one that was really interesting to me. They'll state that you have to take, if you do want to, like, republish the game, you have to take all mentions of Adult Swim out of the game. So for some of this, it's hard because the game code doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
But then another part is that, like, you have to remove any Adult Swim employees from the credits, which then erases people's work on games from the credits of a video game.
That's insane.
And it's just, the whole thing is just this question of, because it's like, okay, you don't want to put out Batwoman, right? You just want to write it off.
Yeah.
Okay, that's shit, right? But like you can almost see where it's like, well, we have to do promotion for it, we have to pay, or to blah blah. There's going to be all this administrative shit that has to happen. But like taking Fist Puncher off of Steam is more work than leaving Fist Puncher on Steam.
Yeah,
like there's
it's so weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's almost like you start to think that it's just like, this isn't actually about business. It's just David Zaslav hates humanity. He's like a V lizard in a people suit that's trying to ruin the fun for everybody. He's like a Grinch coming down to be like, take the games away from them.
It's
like,
just strange because it just shows a lack of understanding of how games work.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's a running thing among companies, not just for
like the C-suite executives.
Yeah, not just for like video games being released, but also just like people who make content about them.
Yeah,
nobody older than like 50 seems to understand how gaming works.
Thank you for adjusting your age so that I wasn't included within it. You can include me within it. You can say anybody over 40. I do this shit for a living, man.
No, but the thing is, there's quite a few people that I know that are in their 40s that absolutely don't understand it. But there's quite a few people I know who are above that age that are like, all I play is Mario Brothers kind of thing. And some that don't, but even they are very confused on certain things.
I mean, I pay a lot of attention to it. I've always been fascinated by it. So,
but a lot of the people who make these decisions tend to be like 50 and up.
Oh yeah, never forget. I think we've nailed this down enough, but let's just make sure. Let's put it on the list of shit RageSelect says a lot. And by RageSelect, I just mean me. Like corporate executives don't like games.
No,
they don't like you. And they don't even understand. Like, they think video games are for babies. They like money. Money makes their dicks hard.
No.
Nothing else makes their dicks hard except for money. Not their wives or strippers or whatever. Viagra. Only money. Just rub $100 bills on both sides of their junk. And so, like, if your thing isn't making them $100 bills, they don't have any interest because they're just not going to get erect for it. No. So they hate
also,
you.
Just to preface this, your grandmas are still listening to RageSelect. That you're not part of that conversation. Well, you understand it.
The nanas of RageSelect know that we're not talking about them. They're all Gen X. They don't care whether we're talking about them or not.
I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Don't want to offend anybody.
Yep. Let's see. But you know what? You know what Warner Brothers does have time for? Warner Brothers doesn't have time to deal with the Adult Swim shit. But you know what they have time for? Stupid shit.
What the fuck am I looking at?
Okay, so check this out, everybody. Warner Brothers has teamed up with the NHL to have the Multiverses NHL face-off. Now, I know what you're asking. What the fuck is the Multiverses NHL face-off? Well, Michael, let me tell you. Okay, so the Avalanche and the Golden Knights are going to be playing each other. And while this is happening, cameras will be watching the hockey game, and they will be taking the actions of the hockey game and then mapping them onto a virtual hockey game that is occurring within multiverses, but like Bugs Bunny and Velma are there. And then there's just some random like hockey guys, but it's like the actual hockey game is happening, and then it's literally motion mapping the actions of the hockey players onto the characters of multiverses inside of a multiverses stage who are playing this. And I'm showing Michael a video of this now, and the look on his face is something that you should all see, because what the fuck are you guys wasting money on?
Okay.
What is this?
I go back to my previous statement.
Yeah.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
Because they don't know how this thing works.
No.
They don't know what people want.
Yeah.
Who wants this? I don't understand what's happening
Well,
here.
the big crossover between hockey players and Super Smash Brothers fans and people who like Velma from Scooby-Doo. So
I guess.
You know,
what the fuck?
One guy in Colorado is really into this.
Oh, my God.
Like, I don't know why you would use all this technology just to map an actual hockey player's movements onto Bugs Bunny. I mean, I will be clear. I would rather watch this than hockey.
True, but
given the choice, I wouldn't watch either. So,
I would watch this mostly out of curiosity of just like, because he's clearly like flailing around too.
Yep. It's not a 1-to-1 because the actual hockey player isn't built like Bugs fucking Bunny.
Yeah. And that's what makes it so much weirder.
Yeah.
This is just fucking. Where did even the hockey player models come from?
I don't know. I don't know.
I have so many questions.
I don't know. It's weird. It's fucking weird. I don't know.
So fucking weird.
It's very weird. You guys gotta go look it up because it's very strange. It also doesn't say anything about multiverses.
No, it doesn't.
Like, because half the characters are hockey players. It's like some of them are Bugs Bunny.
All I saw was Bugs Bunny, Velma, and Shaggy. And Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
And that's the only ones I caught.
Apparently, Batman and Superman are going to be in there because they can't use like non-humanoid characters with the wrong.
Tom and Jerry might not pop up in there,
right? But even if they did. Like, I don't want to watch them play hockey. I want to watch them beat the hell out of each other.
Unless it's just them. Unless it's the part of hockey where they're just beating up each other. But
I guess.
Yeah, but even then.
Oh my God! So you see Bugs Bunny throw his hands down and then just grab Velma and start punching her in the face over and over again.
That would be amazing.
I would watch that. I would watch that. I would watch that part.
That's the part that should be great. Because I want to see how they handle that.
You're selling me on it now. I'm being sold as we speak. Let's see. In other fighting news, are you familiar, Michael, with Boy Kills World?
Yes.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, because I didn't actually watch this in spite of YouTube's really trying to get me to watch this trailer.
Do you not know the thing about his character?
No, I do now. I watched the trailer today. So this is a movie about a guy, and he's his family was killed by this corporation. It's kind of a Running Man-esque thing. And when they killed him, he's deaf and mute. But he decided to have an internal monologue that was like the last voice that he heard, or one of the last voices that he heard, that was the announcer in a fictional 2D fighting game that is H. John Benjamin. Yeah. And so instead of a dialogue, it's just this guy's internal monologue, which is H. John Benjamin. And I was like, I will watch that. Yes. I will watch that.
I never in a million years did I think that was the voice they used until I watched it. And I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yep. It's got a lot of weird people in it. It's got Sharto Copley and what's her face? Jean Grey from X-Men.
Oh, I don't remember the actress's name.
Famke Janssen. The guy from The Raid. Like, and in, I don't know. Apparently it's been shown at some film festivals. One of those things that got people saw it.
Oh, okay.
But then it's got a really long tail because it's not out yet.
Yeah.
Like I saw an Australian website that said they have a May release date for it, but it still doesn't have an actual release date. And then the main guy is Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
that's one of them Skarsgård.
He's the boys. He was the one who played It.
Oh, okay.
I think he's going to be the Crow.
I can see that.
I think he's the Crow guy.
I think he's the Crow guy. Anyway, it got like medium reviews on everything. Looks pretty action-packed to me.
It looks like fun.
People in IMDb were like, I don't know, the action was like okay, and like the jokes were like Deadpool, and I'm just like, I would watch that.
Yeah, but
I would watch that.
I want to watch that because it's got H. John fucking Benjamin as the voice.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that alone.
So, but they're making a movie tie-in, or a game tie-in for this. So what they're doing is they're making a let me make sure I know which company this is. Talent Digital Art is making a fighting game that is the sequel to the fighting game
that he watched.
And it looks okay. Like, it looks like a pretty okay fighting game. It's like 3D, but it's got some of the characters that look like characters from the movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be on phones and PC, and it's going into early access soon. I don't know. As a fighting game guy, Michael, it looks a little generic. It looks a little like it doesn't have a thing.
Yeah, it's a more generic one because they clearly they don't feel like they can get it to be as like techie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of a fighting game. Like, it looks nice, don't get me wrong. Like, the models are really well made, the backgrounds are pretty cool looking, but like it reminds me of like PlayStation 1 fighting games that were like Street Fighter the movie, the game kind of idea. Like it's clear that there's somebody there's heart to it, but there's not enough money into it, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably what's going to be keeping it back.
It's a little generic.
Yeah. It's probably also a time frame thing.
Yeah.
Too, because I don't feel like the combos are that much. Like, the stuff they're showing isn't like super impressive combo lengthwise, if that makes sense.
I mean, it doesn't look like, it doesn't look like it's like the worst fighting game from No Muscles or anything, but like it also doesn't seem incredibly inspired. Like, it kind of reminds me of that one where it was the one you and I played where it was like kind of the one button auto combo game.
It's got that kind of vibe to it, yeah.
But then I can't see what the what the hook is. What's different about this where I wouldn't just go play a fighting game that I already own and like. Right.
Yeah, or any other like really amazing indie developed fighting game.
Yeah.
You want to like the main thing kind of like that I can compare it to that I'm worried about is that beat 'em up Space Jam 2 game we played.
Oh, okay.
Because that was a game where like there's solid ideas in here.
Yeah.
Like you clearly wanted to make like a really fun beat 'em up, but you clearly didn't have the money or the time.
I really wish that they had given Arc System Works a year because they could have made something really incredible.
And it's exactly what I worry about this because I feel like these. Like the way the attacks are kind of slow and it doesn't feel like they're that intricate. So yeah,
It's
but
just
like
not
you said, it's an open beta. Or
yeah,
whatever.
it's going into open beta April 26th.
So it's if it's not 1.0, maybe it's got a chance, but I don't know.
Yep,
I'm not super looking forward to the idea unless it's got H. John Benjamin as the announcer again. And then maybe I'll play it.
Kind of do anything with H. John Benjamin.
I love that fucking guy. Put him in anything and I'll watch it.
Yeah. Speaking of fighting games, this is a fun thing this week. People have been tweeting at Harada asking him to put Waffle House as a stage into Tekken 8. Okay. Katsushiro Harada does not know what Waffle House is.
He has no idea.
And so he went on to Twitter and was like, what is Waffle House? Explain the whole thing to me.
And why do you keep asking me to put it in the game?
And why do you keep asking me to do it? And so the Twitter responses from that were just like amazing. It was just like somebody was like, it's where Americans hold our version of the King of Iron Fist tournament.
That's a good reply.
Yeah, they had some like mock-ups of Waffle House. Somebody did a good oh, yeah, this is an edit of that lady that bopped that chair away, but like it's like a tech attack type of thing. Somebody made a pretty good like kind of user-made Waffle House. It's interesting. I mean, I doubt that Waffle House would lean in. Waffle House does not seem to want to be known as the place where fights go down, right?
Like, or else they wouldn't have fired that lady. Because it's like and he said, I will do it probably if they said yes,
right?
But if they don't, then there's nothing I could do about it,
right? But you could put Pancake Hut in that general design.
Well, that's what other people were saying. Is like just make a level that looks like it, and just like call it something else,
Just, even if it's not that, if it's just
like the Belgian hut or something,
right?
Like something that's like it doesn't have to be it.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't stop people from making Waffle House related, like you said, this mock-up. Like, and then there was that Halo Waffle House, if you remember that one.
I don't remember that one.
They made they used Halo Forge and Infinite to make a Waffle House to shoot at each other in, and it's very well made, by the way.
Okay,
it was one of the first articles ever made. was about the Waffle House.
It was pretty recent.
Yeah, this was like a year ago.
Oh, okay. That was a pretty good Waffle House.
They even put like the malfunctioning sign outside. It's like amazing.
Okay.
And it's really cool. I love what how creative people can be about stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, speaking of places that are slightly less dangerous than Waffle House, let's talk about Helldivers 2. So Helldivers 2, apparently there was the whole thing was Malevolent Creek or whatever. It was like robot Vietnam for Helldivers.
I took part of the first time they did it.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult because back then the armor didn't work very well.
Yeah.
But now it might have been easier, but I don't know. I never did the second part of it.
So over the weekend, the Helldivers managed to liberate Malevolent Creek, and it was supposed to be like, oh, you've got 24 hours to do this, and the community did it in 5. It was just like, bam. Like, the Helldivers community has barely gotten, like, really laser-focused on following those orders and carrying them out.
Well, it's funny because it's the first time in a long time that a game is just like, it's not like, hey, kill each other. The game's like, no. You versus them.
Right.
So it's not like there's no... And if you kill each other, that's more because it's funny, not because you're fighting each other. And so it's so good because it's like I love the fact this community, like, it's the first time in a long time that gamers are just like, yeah, let's just go fucking kill these things.
So, but unfortunately, this has created a bit of a weird thing because one, they gave out a cape, a commemorative cape for Malevolent Creek Memorial Day. So you're like, cool. But then apparently people are starting to kick anybody they see or kill anybody they see wearing this thing.
Huh.
And it's because apparently, from what I can tell, I just read articles. I'm playing Dragon's Crown, man. Fuck you guys and your Helldivers. A lot of people have kept playing on Malevolent Creek even after the orders started asking people to move to other places.
Yeah.
And so the Helldivers community also has this streak of asshole people in it, and they're just like, so they've started calling them the creekers, like people who aren't helping with the current objective and are instead just grinding on Malevolent Creek for levels. And they're just like, so if I see you wearing this, then I'm going to kick you out of the game and or team kill you, or both, because you're obviously a filthy creeker who doesn't know how to follow orders for Super Earth. So get the fuck. It's like,
that's so weird.
It's like a parody. And then the parody has just become reality in a lot of ways.
That keeps happening.
These fucking like Super Earth fascists that have decided you're not playing their favorite video game right, and so I'm going to kill you and kick you out of my game because you didn't do what you're supposed to. And I'm just like, this is why I play single player games, motherfuckers.
This is why I like only playing multiplayer games with friends usually. Is the main reason, because that does keep happening. Because for some reason, I don't know what happened, but something broke everybody's brains years ago, where no matter what you partake in, there's always a crazy person there.
But then also people have noted that there are giant cloaked ships in the sky in the automaton sector, indicating that the next new thing. I wonder how far in advance that Joel guy has, how far back the plans go for like, okay, well, they're pushing back the automatons, but now in the skies of the automaton worlds, giant cloaked ships have started to show up, and it's just like, because did they roll out 2 new enemies
they did
on April 1st? Like just new robots just started showing up to kick everybody's ass. Like,
and then not only that, there's a third faction that still hasn't appeared that was in the first game.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
So that people are speculating that might be what it is.
Yep.
But they're still not sure, because that's the other fun thing about it, is that nobody's letting anybody leak anything.
Yeah.
And so when they do it as if it's like a news report from the war front, and it becomes really interesting because of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of love that.
Let's see. In good news, I had a bit of a transition here. No, we can still do the transition story. In other robot news, apparently Microsoft is looking to transfer a lot of their support requests to AI.
Oh, that's a terrible idea.
Okay, so here's the thing. I was thinking about that, and I was like, I don't know if it's a bad idea or not. Like, it depends on whether or not the AI can actually help. The reason I don't normally like automated responses is because they can't help.
Usually,
But if I'm just like, this game doesn't work, I need a refund, and an AI looks at it and is like, yes, you are eligible, here is your refund. Or like, if they are freeing up people to do things that people need to look at, and I'm able to get a response from support super fast that can actually fix the issue, as opposed to just like, have you tried rebooting? Like the obvious decision tree bullshit. So there's more nuance in that. I'm like, well, maybe. I just need to see whether it's that. What I was actually thinking, though, is I'm looking forward to when people start breaking the support AIs.
Oh, they're going to break the shit out of it. They're going to get refunds for the dumbest shit by breaking the AI.
Yep.
I did that on accident one time.
Yep.
With my Street Fighter 6. I remember I told you that story.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't send me my pre-order code. And so I messaged in, and it was like a I don't think it was a chatbot per se, but it was like an automated message system.
Yeah. And
I just kept being like, look, you didn't send me the thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, did you want a refund for it? And I was like, I guess, like, sure. And they just gave me back, because I bought like one of the bigger editions too.
Yeah.
So it was like $100 that they just gave me back because they didn't send me the one fucking code.
Oh.
And I was just like, cool, I guess.
Okay. Well, speaking of cool stuff on the Xbox, we also got a big Blue Dragon Toriyama theme this week.
Yeah, which really caught me off guard.
It's just kind of the main box art, if I understand correctly, for Blue Dragon. That's kind of just like mildly animated.
Yeah, it was the key stuff that, like, I think it was like the menu. I think, if I can remember, it's been a while. Yeah. I haven't touched Blue Dragon I don't even think I have it anymore.
But that's nice. So
I'm very happy with that, and because it's one of those interesting things that that Xbox tried to do when they were trying to get the Japanese market, but it just didn't pan out.
This is so weird. Speaking of dragons, you'll never guess what Toys for Bob's independent game that they're making is.
Oh my god!
It's a new Spyro game.
Are you serious?
It's Spyro 4. Yes.
What the
Apparently,
fuck?
this is a YouTuber that like knows a bunch of people and was going around and was getting like a lot of scuttlebutt that this was like, okay, so Toys for Bob disconnected, went independent, signed a deal with Microsoft, started working on a game. And then it was just like apparently all of the rumors were that game was Spyro, and then this guy like went and found some people who would actually know, and like they talked him off the record, but they were like, yes, it is a new Spyro game. So hey man, that's great. That's what I want Toys for Bob to make is a new Spyro game.
I'm not upset with it. I just think it's funny because we were like sitting here last time being like, what are they going to do? It's like, well, whatever it is, it's probably not either of those things because they're no longer part of them anymore. No, that's
exactly what they're doing.
I'm cool with it.
Hey, that's Spyro Remastered was amazing.
Because they did Crash 4, and Crash 4, you know, I liked it a lot outside of some issues here and there. So hopefully they can do it again, recapture the magic of something that they helped to remaster.
Yep. Yeah, but I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier.
I'm happy for them.
In other inexplicable sequel news, Guild Wars 3 is in development.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. You know, NCSoft is still around, and apparently on their latest earnings call, they were just like, yep, we're still working on Guild Wars 3. And it was like, what? Wait, what?
When did this happen?
What did you just say?
Didn't Guild Wars 2 come out like 12 years ago? Something like that?
Guild Wars 2 was in 2012.
Oh, I guessed right then.
It was 12. Yes, it was 12 years ago. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, good guess.
The big things with Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1 was that there wasn't a subscription fee. It was an MMO without a subscription fee. But everybody is very, very, very nervous about Guild Wars 3.
I can't blame them.
Because of all of the current monetization schemes out there of being like, this shit's going to be fucking monetized out the ass. Like,
you got to pay $20 for that war, Jeff.
Yep.
Not to mention the guild. The guild alone is going to be like 30.
It's so weird, though, because it's just like, really? Guild Wars in 2024?
Yeah.
Like,
I would not have put that on my bingo
Wars
card.
3. Guild that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Not on my bingo card this day.
Fuck me. And then let's wrap it up with a little bit of Capcom news. Dragon's Dogma 2 has already outsold the first Dragon's Dogma in the first 11 days.
Damn.
So 2.5 million copies.
Seems like it's a word for nothing.
Yep. I actually wanted to say that I did finally find that the microtransactions make more sense to me because I remember at one point specifically saying to people that like the fast travel crystals that they have, you get a lot of those in the game. And then I looked up like how many do we actually get in the game, and it's like 6. And it's like, oh, well, that's not a huge amount.
Yeah, that's
like,
not a lot.
And some of them are hard and like real late in the game to get.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, oh shit, okay. I also found out it's so weird. The first big city that you go to in the game, Ventworth, has a permanent crystal in it, so you can always warp to that city.
Uh-huh.
And then there's like another city that's like around the corner from that, and that one has a permanent crystal that you can always warp to. And those are the only 2 permanent crystals that are in. Like, there's a whole southern continent with a whole city, and I'm just like, well, obviously there's a crystal here too. And it's like, no, wait, what? There's not a crystal in Bakhmatal? And it was like, no, there isn't. There's these 2 in one main city, and the main city is a big quest hub. But then in the suburb of the main city that takes like 10 minutes to run to, and I'm just like, but the place that takes like an hour to get to.
Yeah, that's weird.
What? No. What? Okay.
That's dumb, but sure.
Anyway, I do think that the monetization. I still think that that monetization is like not as dire as people are making it out to be, but it is there. But then also it's Capcom and they fucking suck. So
they're very nowadays.
Actually, here's one thing that doesn't entirely suck. Apparently, Capcom has a system set up where like even if you're playing offline. So there's a mechanic in Dragon's Dogma where you have your main pawn.
Yeah.
And when you sleep, if your main pawn has been hired by anybody else, they'll come back and they'll tell you, I went on a journey with another person and we did all these adventures, and they'll describe like, oh, my other master, he liked to rest a lot. Like it was an interesting experience, and they only just had Beastrin allies. Anyway, I'm back, and then you get like a you can get a thumbs up, you get a heart, you get nothing, and then they can send back items, and then you also get these things called rift crystals that you can use to hire more powerful pawns or buy stuff. Yeah. Apparently, if you're playing offline, those messages will still happen, and they're made up players that Capcom has embedded in the game.
Oh,
so you'll still get additional rift crystals, and you'll still get like interesting stories out of your pawn, even if you're not actually connected to the online service.
I love that,
which is pretty good.
That's very nice of them.
Yep. And with that, we are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up with some trailers, and another podcast for the books. So stick around, everybody. It's time for the final stretch, Michael. Trailer time. We got a lot of trailers this week. This is a great segue from before. Capcom is doing a Monster Hunter 20th anniversary tie-in to Street Fighter 6. So you can get the Monster Hunter armor as well as a few other things.
Oh, cool.
For Street Fighter 6. I gotta imagine that, like, I'm kind of a Monster Hunter fan, but I know that you're more of a Monster Hunter fan. It's got to be like, I was thinking the other day, it's like, it's got to be kind of like irritating that it's just like Capcom ain't doing shit for this 20th anniversary of Monster Hunter.
It's Mega Man all over again. Way back when where they're like, look at all this themed shit.
Yeah,
and then they're just not really doing anything outside of that, because I don't even know when that new one isn't even supposed to come out this year, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I mean, we haven't seen anything. We saw it really briefly at the Game Awards. It didn't seem like it was in even very good shape there. Like it was just very early type of thing.
Very strange that they just keep doing that.
But yeah, if you want to get some Monster Hunter in your Street Fighter, they got plenty of it coming out. It's available now. They've got some I don't know, it's just the one skin. I don't know if that's a particularly like iconic armor of some sort.
It tends to be. The Rathalos armor was a very popular one, I think, on one of the original covers. Yeah, and it's one of the easiest, or not easiest, but like, it's one of the most like this. You're wearing like a fucking monster's outfit kind of thing.
They do have this. That was funny. They do have like a photo frame that you can put over. That's just like the map and the health bars and everything. So you can make your stuff look like it.
Got that weird dance emote.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's got a lot of weird shit.
It's probably going to be real expensive, though.
I don't know why they put... What is this? Magic Sword classic game? Like,
usually what that just means is that's the game that's like in rotation on the arcade thing.
Oh, okay.
Because it's Captain Commando and stuff like that.
So they keep swapping them in, swapping them out. Okay.
So I think they're just like, this is the one that's going to be part of it during this time.
Fair enough. In other fighting game news, we got Eddie Gordo is coming to Tekken 8. Have you been playing Tekken 8?
No, I don't have Tekken 8 at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm waiting for Lei Wulong. He's my bro. That's what I do with Tekken 7. I was like, I'm not playing this game until I get my fucking main. Fuck this shit.
I remember a long time ago when I was dating this woman, and man, she just whooped my ass with Eddie Gordo every time. I just couldn't read the inputs. I'm not very good at Tekken. It was just like, this fucking dancing motherfucker keeps kicking my ass.
That makes sense. Eddie Gordo is hard to figure out.
Yeah. It's I don't know, pretty cool looking. Like, it's interesting to see him speaking like Brazilian.
Yeah,
because everybody's got their like country accurate voice or languages at this point.
He's got that fucking haircut though.
Yeah,
every time.
I don't know. Come pretty soon. Let's see. We got a new full on gameplay trailer for Windblown. So it's going back to the Motion Twin Evil Empire thing. This is the game the Motion Twin was working on, as opposed to Evil Empire, which is the next game. We saw a teaser for it with a little axolotl guy.
Okay.
It was like an animated thing. And it looks an awful lot like... It reminds me a lot of Hades. Like it's kind of a top-down, like 3D kind of hack and slash and action thing. The big thing is that apparently you get like 2 kind of randomly assigned weapons, and those weapons have like different synergies that work together. And so it's funny because there's an article where they said that like they worked on their combat system for 2 years and it just wasn't fun, and so they scrapped the whole thing and rebuilt it in 2 weeks.
Damn.
And this is what they made, because when they started, you were able to just keep the whatever weapon you wanted, but it was just people didn't switch, and so it ended up being kind of boring.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot with games like that because they're just it's the meta kind of thing. You're just like, well, if you get this one with this one together, you do all the things. It's like it's not as interesting as trying out everything.
Yeah, the big thing with this one too is that it's got 3-player co-op.
Oh,
so you can. It's a roguelike where you can invite your friends to play co-op with you. It also has like what looks like a pretty fast dash mechanic, like these dashes everywhere all the time. So yeah, I don't know. It looks like pretty good. It'll be interesting because that guy that was like one of the original devs on Dead Cells isn't there anymore, and Evil Empire isn't part of the dev team anymore. So it'll be interesting to see if what's left can make something that's actually like captures the same amount of goodwill that Dead Cells got.
That's the tricky thing about when a dev makes it, especially because this is the strange thing about gaming, is that it's harder to like be like, oh, follow the company and you'll always get maybe a good game.
Right.
That's not true in gaming.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times the people who made the game that you loved from that company could be long gone, like a year, like years after that came out, or even like in the middle of them making the game that you liked. So
that's what happened with Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of the people that made the original Arkham games, they were gone. At that point.
It happened to Rocksteady. It's happened to a lot of different Capcom game studios over the years.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like I love Beautiful Joe, and the one of those guys is the reason that made Platinum kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those guys just end up leaving to make their own thing.
Yeah, so it's coming into early access this year in the PC early access. So, bada bing, bada boom. Let's see what else we got. We got another gameplay trailer for Visions of Mana. I think the last time we saw this was at that Xbox event that happened. I don't know. It's kind of another kind of third-person fantasy action game. It's not quite the little bit more open-ended, I think, than Windblown was, but it's looking pretty good. Like, what were you on when we talked about that? Where it was just like there'd been like 13 Mana games over the years.
I think, because I was wondering about it. I think that's why we looked it up.
Yeah. This one is a little bit more dynamic than the stuff that they showed at the Xbox conference. A lot more exploding particle effects and kind of weird-looking monsters and stuff. I don't know. This looks a little bit more action-packed than... It was very kind of pastoral at the last one, and this one's just like...
I remember us being like, this looks kind of generic at the time, but this looks a lot more interesting.
This is a lot better. It's like a lot more giant monsters and, little anime dudes and ladies and whatnot. So...
Good for them.
Yep. Let's see. We got the full gameplay overview for Children of the Sun, which will be out this week, or when you hear this, it'll be like on Monday or Tuesday or something. Apparently, we already knew kind of the mechanic of like shooting. You get one bullet and you shoot it, and then you have to like kind of, when it hits something, you can kind of after touch to a different thing.
Yeah.
But apparently, I mean, I didn't know that it was only one bullet until now.
I didn't know that either, yeah.
So it seems like it's a lot more of a puzzle game than like a specific Sniper Elite game, because you're trying to kind of kill everybody with one go. In fact, it was interesting. I've never seen this before, Michael, but in this, where they're explaining everything, at the end they say that the game is between 3 and 5 hours long.
Oh,
like that people can finish the game in between 3 to 5 hours.
They just have to know how to like really get it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
And also, there's a little replay at the end. I think it's kind of cool where it zooms out and it shows like your bullet trajectory, and then there's like leaderboards to see if you can beat like the high score of people. I don't know. Everything about this I'm interested in. It's got a weird art style and a weird concept and a weird premise.
It's got it's really cool. It's got a book suppository anywhere at some point. Book depository.
I was about to ask what a book suppository was.
It's the bullet specifically. But no, it's a great idea. I love the idea of like, well, an actual literal magic bullet that can be done that way.
I also like the fact that
a conspiracy theory.
I hadn't heard about it until like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until you told me about it.
Yeah, and now it's coming out next week. So Yeah, but it looks good.
He could be anywhere. Sorry, I just God, I want to watch that episode now.
Which one?
The one with the bookmobile. I think it was the bookmobile one. It's the one where they asked the cop, like, did you see, I think, Mr. Garrison?
Uh-huh.
And he's just like, and he has a flashback of like the book depository.
Oh,
He could be anywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, I forgot which episode that one was, but it always makes me laugh because I always think about that specific gag when I think about it.
Fair enough. And I think this might have been another April Fool's thing that turned out to be for real. It's a game called Duckside that's like a Rust style game where you're like building bases and then raiding other people's bases, but everyone's a duck.
That's amazing.
Where you can fly. You can like drop stuff, but then you also have just like a machine gun, but you can also like craft and build bases.
I appreciate they didn't give a shit about like explaining how they can wield axes and shit.
Yeah.
They're just like, fuck it. That's
everything
a hovering axe.
Hovering axe, hovering guns. The guns are just hovering beside them and then they just pull them out. The developers said something about like, oh no, this game isn't just a Rust clone. You've got to get in touch with like your inner duck in order to play it. What's really weird is there's parts in this trailer where they show the ducks shooting people. And there's like actual
so there are people.
There are people. It's not just ducks. Like right there, there's a person. And I'm just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like this is very weird. Very strange. I can't tell if it's PvP or PvE or like what the deal is.
I both love and actually I don't know. I don't hate it. I love, but I'm very confused as to the whole thing.
It's very confusing and bizarre. Well, see, the problem for me is that they were like, it's like Rust, and I'm like, I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to just be like constantly at paranoid about somebody taking all my shit.
I don't want to play it, but I can't wait to watch like clips of this thing.
Yeah. So yeah, there's going to be a beta for that on Steam. I think this is who is making this. It is Tiny Build Riga.
No idea.
They made Hello Engineer Scrap Machines Constructor. I don't know what the fuck that is,
Never
and I do not care to find out. So
but it's a fun idea, and I'm happy that somebody has come up with something new. So
I'm glad that whatever the studio is, they're not making another Hello Neighbor themed game. I just don't have any interest in that franchise. There's like 100 of them at this point.
I was laughing because somebody was talking about like what's a sad game developer interaction you've seen, and it's the Hello Neighbor guy who kept trying to get the game theory guy to talk about his game.
Pat, yeah.
He's like, we have a whole new patch, like go look at it, and like they kept tagging him on it, and he just never did, and it was just like this is just depressing.
Yep. Let's see. Another online multiplayer news. We got a trailer. This one's for you, Michael, of the yappening in Halo.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
The yappening 2 is occurring. So, okay, first off, there's a lot of like golden guns and skins that are like themed after the little foot faces.
Oh, the little grunts, yeah.
But then there's also, and so then they go through and they show all these skins, and it's just like whatever. But the thing is, apparently there's a limited time game mode where it's called like what is it called? The Gruntpocalypse, where it's just like a PvE mode with tons and tons and tons and tons of grunts.
That's amazing.
Like you're trying to survive against like tons and tons and tons and tons of grunts. Will this make you reinstall Halo Infinite?
If I can get somebody to play it with me, maybe.
Yeah,
because that sounds like it just reminds me of the old days where we did the firefight mode.
Yeah,
because I love PvE shit in Halo. I'm a big fan of that stuff.
I wonder if you could play them on the Waffle House map. You could tons of grunts in the Waffle House.
I'd love that.
It's just so weird to me to see Halo just be like this. Like, oh, I mean, I guess that's a thing now. I guess. Nobody really gives a shit.
That's the problem with live service games and something that should not have been a live service game to begin with.
Yeah.
Because they used to do stuff like that before where they would have like limited time game things, but there was always like, it was always just still the main multiplayer mode without anything that was like taken out, if that makes sense. And if it was like weird shit like this. And then once it became a live service game, it's like, well, there's like 3 maps that you can play right now. And it's like, well, can I play any other ones? Like, not for like another like 5 months. And you're like, well, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Well, maybe you need to switch from Halo to another game, because at this point, if you go to your PlayStation, you can get on to the open beta for Predecessor, which is that I think I told you about this. What was it called? What was that game called? Paragon. Remember Unreal's the Paragon thing?
I don't even remember what this is now.
And then like a team went back and took all the open source models for Paragon and recreated Paragon.
Yeah.
And called it Predecessor. So this is on the PlayStation, open beta, PS4, PS5 for that MOBA third-person action game recreated.
I had completely forgot. For some reason, I thought they'd canceled this again, but I guess not.
I think there was something else. I don't remember what the other news was that made us talk about
something
this,
similar, yeah.
But yeah, no, this is out. This is out now.
Good for you guys, I guess.
Out now on the PlayStation. So weird to think that Paragon is a thing.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. Somebody's trying to make this shit work.
There's a market for everything. So
gonna bring back the MOBA.
Yep. Let's see. Another weirdly obscure shit. This is going to be a new MechWarrior 5 game. MechWarrior 5 Clans. It's Piranha Games that made the last one. I think you and I played that when it was on Game Pass.
Yeah,
did we play
a long
that?
time ago.
And this is like a full single-player story game.
I was about to say, what the fuck's that wrong with that guy's face?
Oh, he's all messed up. He's a mech warrior. He got hit in the face by a mech. That's a hazing ritual. That's what happens. They just punch you. No, I mean they've got
because the way his eyes are, they make it look like they're crossed.
Yeah,
it's just what caught me off guard.
They got like a whole cut scene, and they're talking about like all the lore of Mech Warrior, and then it looks like what looks like a single player campaign. It's so weird to me that Mech Warrior is still fucking kicking. Like,
yeah, I'm happy for them, but like I feel like the world has gone past Mech Warrior. But I don't know if it's still fun. I'm sure it'll get its audience back.
I mean, I guess it all just depends. Like, is there enough of an audience that if we make one, we'll make our budget back?
That's true.
Like, if that's enough. So
they make one of those giant controllers again. I don't remember if it was them or somebody else.
I think that was a Battle Tech thing, not Mech Warrior.
But they should do it for Mech Warrior.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll bring people back.
No, Kinect. The controls are virtual, Michael. You got to press control it with your hands.
Bring it back, guys. It'll totally work this time. We promise.
It's coming out this year. Let's see. Did you see this trailer for this game called Jump Ship?
I've heard of it.
Okay. This game looks fucking rad, and I want to play it really, really bad. Apparently, it's a rogue-like kind of run-based thing where it's 4 players. It's kind of a Left 4 Dead thing, and you're flying around in like a spaceship, and you can go from like space to planets, and then you can go out of the ship, and you can do like single-player missions where you're trying to get scrap and stuff, but then you also have to fly the ship together and repair it, and people can man like the turrets.
Isn't this really like a is this? I swear I've seen somebody play this before.
Maybe
it might be a beta. It might be a PC beta because I think I've seen clips of people playing this.
Oh, okay.
At some point, but I don't know if it's this or not. I'd have to find it again.
I never seen it because I saw a thing where it was like, here's people like flying a ship, and then people can go out on the ship and to help shoot at stuff and like repair stuff, and like
the reason I think it's this one is because I was watching Bruce Green's it was one of those like compilations, and I think it had this in there. That's the reason I think it is, but that's the reason I don't know because it didn't say what the title of the game was. But there was a point where like one of them was flying the ship, and he's just like, okay, we're gonna land. Just make sure you slow down.
Yeah,
just make sure you slow down. Why aren't you slowing down? And they just like slam right into the fucking thing. It turns out like he wasn't paying attention. He just like slammed right into it.
I don't know, man. Like everything here looks good. Like it all looks like a well crafted thing as opposed to just like some generated bullshit. And there's like. And you know what? I'm a huge sucker for games where you can fly from a planet to space and then back again, where you also get to shoot guys, and don't just scan like weird elephants for points.
There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and the fact that you can be part of the crew is really cool.
It's Sea of Thieves with a spaceship.
Yeah,
it's Sea of Thieves with a spaceship, and I'm like, I want to go to there.
And it looks way cooler than any of that stuff was.
And it looks nice, right? Like all the it's like jetpacks. There's a point where they were like jetpacking over like a derelict ship to raid it and stuff, and I'm just like, ooh, I want to play that. Also, you can play soccer. So, I'm really interested in this because it's like,
what is this coming out on?
I think it's coming to Steam right now.
Okay, this might not be what I think it is then. Because it says wish list on Steam, so that means it's not a thing yet. As far as I can tell,
it's possible some YouTubers might have gotten like into a beta, like a closed beta or some kind of influencer stuff.
I need to find out whatever that game was if it wasn't that though.
This is from Keepsake Games, a new company. They haven't done anything.
That looks real cool.
Yeah. Still TBA. There's not an official announcement
It
yet,
says
but
it's early access too. So
yeah, it'll definitely be going into early access. I don't know. I really want to play this. Like this is my jam. This is some Jeff shit right here, and I want to play that Jeff shit.
I would like to try this.
I want to get this, and I want to bring other people on because you know what? I think I've found my favorite thing for RageSelect, and it's 4-player games where everybody can stay at home, and I don't have to spend a shitload of money on giving people copies of it. Because man, that Lethal Company was fun, and as of recording this, I haven't done it yet, but we should be trying out that content warning game at some point. So, yeah. Let's see. We also got, this is a full gameplay trailer for, I don't know if you were on when we were talking about this, where it was like a kind of a homeworld-esque type game where you build spaceships and you fly them out and you have battles.
I feel like we mentioned it.
Like there was a longer one.
Oh, wait, no, I do remember this. Yeah.
You remember this?
I remember this.
Okay,
now,
but then the beginning of this, it's like a whole bunch of ships shooting each other, and I'm like, yes, that's what I wanted to see, was a giant fleet engagement between like 20 ships all fucking blasting each other, missiles going back and forth and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. So,
nice.
Yeah, if you guys are into space shit, like I'm into space shit, maybe go look for Falling Frontier. It's still, I don't know when it's coming out. It's still like on the way. It's a wish list thing.
Yeah.
But I like the art style. I dig what they're putting down. I read books where this shit happens all the time. So
like a nerd. I'm just kidding.
Actually, the book that I'm reading right now is more like that jump ship thing where it's it's a bunch of little space commandos doing space commando stuff. So I'm such a nerd for that shit. Michael, we've had a lot of April Fool's jokes. I wish I could tell you what you're about to see next is April Fool's joke. This is the weirdest game announcement that I've seen this week.
I'm going to close my eyes real quick then.
Stranger Things.
Tell me when to open them.
Yeah, close your eyes. Okay. Open your eyes. We've actually talked a lot about a lot of the things involved here. So there's a new Homeworld game, and I know what you're thinking. It's like, why is the graphics in here look a little weird? It's a VR Homeworld game.
What the fuck?
Where you are controlling the ships as a giant disembodied hands in space. Like,
but why though?
That is my question. I don't know why. I don't know who paid for this. I don't know why this is a thing. Homeworld generally, as near as I can remember, takes a lot more precision than like you would get off of janky hand controls.
Yeah.
It's obviously designed from the ground up. It's not a port. It's not Homeworld 1 or Homeworld 2. It's like
it also looks like there's less ship stuff, I guess.
Yep. I'm like, what is this?
That's just fucking weird.
So yeah, coming out for the Meta Quest, and then I think also on PC, if I'm not mistaken, but it's called Homeworld Vast Reaches. And I'm just like, of all the games to make in VR, of all the games to put into this interface,
I never would have guessed that.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. And part of me, but okay, so here's the thing, all right? If you were going to make a game like this, a tactical space game, all right, that you played in VR, I'm not even saying that's a bad idea. This could be a cool idea. Wouldn't it make more sense to put you inside of like an Ender's Game?
Yeah, I was about to say an Ender's Game type idea,
or like on a table,
would
like
be
at
really cool.
At a desk where you're like commanding a fleet, like from a fleet like computer or something.
Anything, we should just make an Ender's Game based on that.
Yeah, as opposed to this weird, like I'm just floating around in outer space with my giant space hands, flinging ships towards other ships.
Without the without the actual thing that happens at the end of Ender's Game.
Right,
but still.
Right. It seems like the sort of thing where you would want just like some kind of interface as opposed to I'm just a floating hand with a wristband with orders on it to give to
just so strange
spaceships.
I was God once.
Yeah. Okay, so we've gone from a lot of space shit for Jeff. Michael, we got the Rise of the Ghost Lord on that Ghostbusters game.
Oh.
So they just put out DLC that's all based on the movie that's out right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, for the VR one. Okay, yeah. I see. That's kind of fun.
It's got. I think Ray is actually in there. There's like some points where you see him talking.
Oh, cool.
He's like, they wanted me to retire, but I don't want to retire. So,
I recently did the Frozen Empire thing they did for Spirits Unleashed.
Is that the Is that not this?
No, this is the Rise of the Ghost Lord one. The Spirits Unleashed was that multiplayer one that we did a while back.
Oh, okay.
And so it had
right, just the console game.
Yeah, and it wasn't anything like special. It was just like catch Garaka and like, you know, and it had some ice stuff going on in it. But he was like the easiest ghost I caught, and which made it really funny.
Okay.
because he's supposed to be the big bad, and he's just like, yeah, catch Garaka, the fucking new villain, and like he got caught by the computer players really fast.
Oh.
I walked over a corner, and he just came over the corner and threw the trap in front of me, and he got caught immediately. And then the second time I saw him, he just came around the corner again, and I just caught his ass again. Like it was really funny because I was like, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Compared to like fighting a Slimer. Like it was really funny.
I think I decided after I was watching this that like I think the part of Ghostbusters that I like isn't necessarily the mechanical part of Ghostbusters. It's the guys from the first movie. Like that's the part that I like a lot more.
It's the funny thing about Ghostbusters is there's no right answer to what you love about Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
because there's so many different type of Ghostbuster fans.
Yeah,
like because I find that more fascinating because not a lot of franchises have that.
Yeah.
And
I think it's why I like the old game more, because they actually got the cast back and wrote jokes for them
they did, and it helps that it was actually written by Aykroyd and Ramis that time.
Yeah,
and that really they all really cared about what was going on in it.
Yep,
except for Bill. But you know,
but if you got
normal.
the Rise of the Ghost Lord on PSVR, you can play the Frozen Empire.
I still want to get it though. I just don't. I don't have a PSVR 2.
Yeah,
and I have a MetaQuest 2, and it's on that. But my brother was telling me it actually looks the best on the PlayStation 1.
I mean,
it's a space thing either way, though.
I can, if you get to a point, I can let you borrow mine for a weekend. It's not like I'm using it so often that like.
Yeah, I was about to say
I couldn't help. Oh, I can't help you, Michael. I use it so fucking much. Like
I use it all the time.
Yeah,
I use it for Homeworld.
Yep,
VR all the time.
That's not even on there. It's on the MetaQuest. You give me your MetaQuest, I'll give you my PSVR 2. We'll swap over a weekend or something.
You have one though.
I have a MetaQuest 3. I don't want to play on the 2.
I don't have a 3. That's the thing. I have the 2.
We got an early access. Speaking of horror stuff, we got an early access release date for Silent Breath. This is one of those Unreal Engine 5 horror games that listens to your microphone.
Oh.
And so the thing is that like if you breathe hard, then like the monsters will hear you and find you. Or if you like make noise, if you're like eep, like they'll seek you out and hear you, which is an interesting idea. But like I don't yelp when I play even horror games by myself. Like I might if I'm on camera or if I were recording, right? But when I'm by myself, I'm not just like like I'm not making noise.
Yeah, that's why we're the one of the worst people to play horror games with.
Yeah,
or not worse, but like we're not the Markiplier guy you watch kind of thing.
Yeah,
where there's like, oh my Jesus, sweet Jesus, and I'm just like, that's fucking weird. This is usually like our reaction.
Yeah.
I think we've only like the few times we've been creeped out, we don't like freak out.
Sure.
Like when we did that the train one.
Oh, Shinkansen Zero. Yeah.
When I was just all I did was like like, and then I was just like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, let's have some creepy ass monsters in here.
There's some great design work going on in here,
and it definitely works as like an Unreal Engine just forest map. Yeah. Kind of very slender, the 8 pages. There's another one that I think is based on a concept similar to this, where it's just like you're watching the thing on rails. It's like a horror thing on rails.
Yeah.
And if you yelp or scream, it's like game over. So it's just like you have to remain silent through the entire thing, and then the whole thing is just trying to like to get you to like scream. So
yeah, which is a fun idea.
In other inexplicably weird game news, we got the announcement of PO'd Definitive Edition. This was an old-ass first-person shooter where you're a chef that lands on an alien planet, and then you have to shoot up a bunch of monsters. It's an old fucking video game.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And Night Dive is like putting together a like remaster of it to be put out.
What a strange thing to get a remaster.
And it's a very weird game. I think it's got a cult following. It's got a lot of like weird character designs and enemy designs, and it was definitely like just part of that craze of weird old FPS games when like Doom was popular and they were just like everything's an FPS, make it all an FPS. But yeah, I barely remember this game, but I don't think I ever played it. So.
I genuinely have no idea. I don't think I've ever, as far as I know, don't have any recollection of this ever existing.
Yeah, I remember seeing it and going like, "That looks terrible."
But it's like the exact time frame of games that I would have been playing.
Yeah,
I think it just came down to the fact that like I didn't have any control over what we got when I was younger.
Right.
It was mostly my older brother. So if he didn't care for it, there was no way I was going to end up playing it.
Yeah. But anyway,
I was young, so
they're doing that. It's coming soon. There's no definite release date yet. But
you know what I want to get remastered, but it will never happen.
Kingpin, Life of Crime.
Jesus God, that was a whole fucking thing. I know, it'd be Blasto. I would love for them to remaster Blasto, because I always loved the idea of Blasto, but I don't think it was that great of a game even when it came out.
Which one was Blasto?
Blasto was that space hero game for the PS1 with Phil Hartman's voice. And
this guy, he looked like a Pixar dude.
Yeah, he looked like a Pixar geek. Like he almost looked like Mr. Incredible almost in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just like space hero thing, and honestly it's like when you play it, you're like, this is probably the voice he would have done for Zap Brannigan if he hadn't died.
Right.
Kind of thing, because he was originally supposed to be Zap apparently.
Okay.
But I really like the idea of Blasto. It's like a fun idea, but I don't think it ever really got to get its fruition the way it should have gotten.
I think you're just PS1 brain from Smiling Friends.
Well, there's that, but I also really liked. I just also would love to hear Phil Hartman's voice again in something like this. Like they just take his voice lines and remaster them or something.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Well, speaking of remaster, we also got the launch trailer for that Felix the Cat remaster.
Oh,
the NES game that's out now. So
I haven't thought about Felix the Cat in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a little weird to me because it's not a collection. It's just one game, right? Like it's just one Felix the Cat game from the NES. I think. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Check the description. I might mention.
Let's see. It's a collection of modern versions of classic retro adventure games. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so
it's the NES and Game Boy.
Oh, okay, so that's why.
So there's two. There's an NES and then a Game Boy one. But yeah, I mean it's all the normal stuff. It's got rewind. It's got some. I'm
a big fan of these. Like I just wish the reason I'm such a big fan of them is because there are a lot of them. The ones that I'm a fan of are the ones that are the copyright ones that you normally wouldn't see the re-releases of normally.
Yeah, that are hard to find.
Yeah, because it's and they tend to be stupid expensive because of it.
Sure. Like
DuckTales used to be really, really expensive to get.
Yeah.
Before they came out with that collection. Same with even all the Ninja Turtle games that Konami had re-released not that long ago.
I just need them to start putting out PS2 games.
Yes, that would be nice.
I need them to start putting out Rule of Rose and stuff like that. The Haunting Ground, the stuff that I've actually spent money on. I desperately want to play that Michigan Report game.
Oh yeah, I keep hearing about that one. I keep seeing videos of it, and it's just batshit insane.
Yeah. Where you're a cameraman during a zombie apocalypse. It was an early Suda51 game.
Yeah, it's a very popular game for YouTubers to play.
Yeah,
and because I think I saw the Game Grumps play it one time.
I haven't looked just yet on how emulatable it is, but
apparently it must be because a lot of either the YouTubers are emulating it or they have it. I don't know.
Yeah,
because a lot of people play it because it's very popular.
Let's see. We got a video for Bug Snacks, the card game.
Oh, geez.
So there's a Kickstarter out right now. Spicy Horses, I think is the name of that company, is making it where there's Bug Snacks cards, and then if you play enough trap cards to get them, then you'll get the Bug Snacks, and then you have the little Muppet guys, and it's the first person to eat 6 Bug Snacks wins.
Oh.
So it's currently in Kickstarter. Last time I checked earlier today, it was $15,000 goal, and they were $38,000 already. So
yeah. Bug Snacks is in the pantheon of this is adorable, and then you get to the end, you're like, man, that was fucked up.
Yep. Apparently they have some some of the weirder, Bug Snacks
more
characters
fucked up
in
stuff
there.
that happens in a little bit.
Yeah,
that game. When I found out what was happening in that game, I was like, "Oh dear God, what the fuck?"
Well, I don't know. You kind of get an inkling the first time. Everybody's just like, "I want to turn my arms into French fries for some reason," and you're just like, "Why?"
Well, it's like when you start finding out other stuff about why they act the way they do, that you're just like, "Oh, that explains a lot."
Yep.
The whole thing is just fucked up. If you guys don't know.
This is a game called. Finally, we got Awaken Astral Blade, which I just didn't have any other place to put, which is like some kind of like Metroidvania kind of 2D action side-scrolling thing.
Yeah.
Looks pretty cool. I mean, like, it's got a kind of a waifu-esque main character, and it looks like it's got some pretty good art style and animation stuff.
Well, it's good that art style and the way the animation isn't isn't too detailed.
Yeah,
but enough that reminds me of like the mid to late 2000s type games that were like that.
Sure,
kind of like Bionic Commando Rearmed. That sort of like things are detailed but not super detailed. Kind
Absolutely,
of thing.
Makes sense. And this is the trailer that has a release window, Q3 2024.
Okay, that's not that far.
Let's see. Speaking of games that are coming out, we got our first. We got the first half of April lined up for Game Pass, which has got a lot of good stuff. Super Hot Mind Control Delete and Lego 2K Drive, which is very good and you should play.
It's legitimately surprising. Yes.
As well as Lil Gator Game should all be out by the time you hear this. Botany Manor, which is like kind of a cozy game that they announced a little while back, is going to be April 9th. Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is going to be April 11th. But the big news is Harold Halibut is going to be on Game Pass April 16th.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad because those guys put a shitload of work into that game, and I want it to be successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, good first half of April. I'm still kind of flabbergasted at just like how Game Pass, like Sony keeps trying to do their thing, and like there's other stuff, but Game Pass just consistently keeps just throwing out bangers. Like,
well, it's surprising that they keep doing that, but it doesn't seem to sell consoles.
Yeah,
which is what's fascinating about the whole thing.
Yep.
But it's because they all come out on PC too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We also got the news though that what is it called? Tales of Kenzera Zhao. That Metroidvania, that one, the guy from Raised by Wolves is making, that they announced at the Game Awards.
I completely forgot about that.
Is going to be day one on PlayStation Plus.
That is fascinating.
So they don't seem to want to do that for any Sony games or any big games, but they do seem like they'll do it for smaller games. Also, Dave the Diver is going to be on PS Plus. So. The console release of Dave the Diver is going to be on PS Plus in April as well. You should all go play Dave the Diver. That includes you, motherfucker. Like, people playing fucking Dave the Diver.
I'm going to wait till Godzilla comes out. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I keep meaning to. I just don't know if I'm going to.
It's so good.
Too many things.
So good. Yeah. Let's see. We got a release date for Nine Souls, which is going to be May 29th. Nine Souls.
No, not 10 Souls.
That is the Metroidvania from the people that made Detention and the other one, Red Candle Games.
Oh, okay.
Where they got their Deception.
Yeah.
They got shut down by the Chinese government because
that was weird.
Somebody put Winnie the Pooh joke in it.
I completely forgot about that.
It was a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
This is like a 2D Sekiro kind of Metroidvania style game from them. Looks really it's like hand animated.
It's really
fast
gorgeous.
paced. It doesn't look anything like anything they've ever done before.
No, yeah, that's why I was
nothing
surprised
like what they've done
them.
before. So, but yeah, it looks really good. And apparently, it's like you're kind of cyber killing a bunch of gods. There's like 9 of them, the 9 souls, and they're calling it Dao Punk. But it also has some platforming stuff that reminds me of Guacamelee and like very specific, like very detailed platforming challenges.
I can see that.
Looks beautiful.
Oh yeah,
looks amazing.
It's one of the most gorgeous looking one of these games I've seen in a while.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be checking that out when it comes out, especially because I want to support these guys because they got a fucking raw deal.
They did. They really did.
This is a very weird story, Michael, and I don't know if anybody's going to care but me, but it turns out that EA has a company that's going to be bringing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes to the PC.
Oh.
I really like Galaxy of Heroes. Like, I downloaded it on my phone when it came out, and like it was like one of the only phone games that ever got me in 2015. It's just an auto battler.
Yeah,
but it was fun. It was a fun auto battler.
Yeah, I tried it a long time ago. There was a few of them at the time. There was a DC one at one point that one was not nearly as fun.
I keep the problem that I have is that every time I've reinstalled it a few times, and it saves your progress on your Google account, and you can't reset. And I'm just like, but I don't remember how this fucking game works. It's got like 18 currencies and all these different like connections and synergies, and I don't know what happened. I played it like there was a year where I went away for Christmas to my parents' house, and that was just every day I was just fucking on my phone, like it was the only phone game that's ever managed to like really grab me. But yeah, they're putting it out on the PC. They're bringing it up to like 60 frames per second. They're upsampling it a little bit. They're putting in no controller support, but like mouse support to play the game, et cetera, et cetera. So
that's crazy.
Oh, speaking of mice, that was one thing that I didn't mention about Children of the Sun. They were talking about it. They were like, you can play with a controller, or you can play with mouse and keyboard, or you can play it with only your mouse. And I was like, interesting.
That is interesting.
So
good for them.
Let's see. We're probably going to be getting a release date for that Silent Hill 2 remake pretty soon.
Did we not already have one?
We do not.
For some reason I thought we did, but that's because they have like 1,000 trailers they keep coming out with.
Yeah, we do not have it right now, but it just got ESRB rated, which is what generally happens right before we get an actual release date for it.
Yeah.
Because you can't get ESRB rated until you're like completely complete because they can't rate it without knowing everything that's going to be in the game.
Yeah.
So when that happens, then it means that the game is at a fairly finished state, which means that we're probably going to get an actual release date.
So you can't last minute add a dick monster to it.
Yes, or like a Winnie the Pooh joke. Let's see, Earthblade, which is the next game from the creators of Celeste, is not going to be coming out this year. They put out a statement basically saying like, their development has been kind of troubled, but that they are hiring on, they're actually hiring on, because they made Towerfall, and they're hiring on one of like the better Towerfall players to basically take over. The main game kind of director person is like too involved in the day-to-day, and so they're hiring somebody new to come on and be kind of like the pipeline between the development staff and them so that they don't get bogged down micromanaging stuff.
No.
I don't know. This one looked more interesting to me than Celeste because it has combat in it, and Celeste does not. And
I can see that.
Not a big fan of that. So, and then last, we got a couple of quick things to wrap up with. We got the release date for Nightmare Cart.
Oh yeah,
this is what.
That's right. They had changed it to the whole thing.
Yeah, this is what Bloodborne Cart turned into. Yeah, and we could see how it's changed, and it's like basically just like legally distinct from.
I remember like the fact that this like everyone was like surprised that it happened, but I was like, no one should be surprised this happened.
Well, except
we
for
should
the developer.
be more surprised that it took them this long.
Yeah, except for the developer that was just like, oh no, I was waiting for this.
Yeah, everyone was just expecting it.
So yeah, it's coming out for free, and it's at the end of May.
Okay.
One of the nice things from here was they talked about the developer talked about changing the name and how they wanted it to be something that was the same number of syllables.
Oh, okay.
But that what was it? Oh, yeah. So when they were looking to change the name, they had a lot of people on Twitter that were suggesting a new name. They said they wanted to keep the same number of syllables with the word cart in it.
Yeah.
But that the one they liked the most was Bleed for Speed. Which I think is pretty great.
That's a really good name for a racing game.
A Bloodborne cart game.
That should be a racing game at some point.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of From Software, somebody added co-op into Armored Core 6.
Oh my god!
And not just co-op, but also invasions. Like
what the fuck?
So you can have up to like 3 people like co-op with you, and up to 2 invaders. You can have up to 6 total people in an Armored Core game. And this mod is actually pretty cool because it like takes you off of FromSoft servers and disables anti-cheat, but like disables anti-cheat and then doesn't log you in, so your Steam account doesn't get flagged.
Oh, okay.
So you have to like specifically manually set up the whole thing. But like,
that's fascinating.
I don't know. I'm just like, do people need help with Armored Core? Do you need co-op for Armored Core 6? Because I don't know.
People just like throwing shit into other games. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. It does kind of make sense, though, with the invasions, because there are a lot of missions in Armored Core where, especially in New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus, where you're just doing a mission you've done 1,000 times before, and then just some fucking douchebag comes out of the right-hand side of the screen like, well, Raven, it's just, so happy to see you. You'll never guess how much I was paid to kill you. And then you have to get in a fight with them or something. So
that would work, yeah.
Yeah. And then last but not least, apparently, if you're listening to this on Monday, you might have already missed the eclipse, but apparently Twitch and NASA have teamed up with Fortnite and Minecraft to do like this, like, here's the eclipse cam plus like tie-in events for Minecraft and Fortnite about the eclipse. I don't know, man.
It might be one of those like the concert thing for Fortnite.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised because there were like live stream like shows on there sometimes.
You could put an eclipse event inside of Fortnite, maybe.
Yeah,
you could probably do it in Minecraft pretty easy too, right?
That's probably part of it. But
yeah,
fascinating.
I don't know what the fuck that's going on. I'm gonna go outside and look at the sun, like with just my naked eyeballs.
I hear it gives you superpowers.
Yeah. I mean, bitten by a radioactive corona. Nope, none of that works. Okay.
By radioactive eclipse is where I thought you were going to say. I was like, that doesn't make any sense either.
Yep. Well, I've become delirious. The coffee is empty, and that means we're down to the end of another RageSelect podcast. Yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Michael, why don't you tell them where they can find you? We're going over here doing April Fools with me.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie and television reviews. My latest review was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So go ahead and look out for that if you haven't listened to that, or if you have already watched the movie and you just want to see what I said about it.
There you go. Go do that, and then I don't know, man. Maybe go to patreon.com/RageSelect. Go to patreon.com/. I need to be less coy about this. It's like inflation's a bitch and we're in the middle of an economic crisis. And if you like the podcast, it does take me a lot of time and effort to put these things together.
That's true. The economy is in shambles.
Even if you're not going to watch the tons of bonus videos, come to the Discord server or whatnot, the money that we get from Patreon is the primary way that this functioned. I'd be ashamed to show you how much I make on YouTube ad revenue. I literally only have them turned on because I'm convinced that if you turn them off, YouTube suppresses your video.
No, that's probably exactly why.
Which makes a certain amount of sense. But I would turn off the ads because of the piddly amount that I get from actual ad buy-in. I probably get more from YouTube Red than I do from actual ad buy-in.
Have you thought about making a 38-hour video about something?
We didn't do. I didn't even do an April Fool's. If I would have been smart, this whole podcast would have been about Beverly Hillbillies. And it would have been the April Fool's joke, but it happened on April 7th instead of the 1st because everybody expects it on the 1st. And 7's like a 1, except you got to cut the top off. And oops, that's the last podcast. There's not going to be more RageSelect, but it's April Fool's. But it's not. But it is. And it's a real thing. You can buy it on a store. I don't. I gotta go to sleep.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition's April Fool's Day.
I'm gonna start doing April Fools on like March 15th, and we're gonna put out like, well, guys, I'm going into finance. I'm a Bitcoin guy. I'm going into finance now. And everybody's like, what? And I'm like, April Fools. It's not even April. I'm like, yes, but you expected it in April. Now it's March 15th and you expect nothing. Ha-ha.
If you get fooled once, you can't get fooled again.
That's right. All right. There's all the power I have. I'm going to sleep. Get out. Bye.